this is about delivering great exclusive games for you that ship on platforms where Game Pass exists.
There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow.
So, this is home now. Home.
Hello and welcome out to Gamers Council. I'm your host, WEBDAVE, along with my co-host, RHETRI. What's up, buddy? And we have some special guests tonight. Oh my God, we are so freaking excited. We have two of our favorites and one first time here on the show. EVERBORN Saga, welcome, sir.
Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Uh-oh.
He's in my Flynn.
Wait a minute.
What?
Is that Paris in the chat? I feel like
he snuck in
just to talk bad
he's
about
here for
Sonic.
The slander, dude.
I knew it. I knew I couldn't show up. We know why he's here. He has something negative to say about Sonic.
Oh my God. He would never do that. Paris is one of the
I'm having one of those.
What's up, Paris?
First
are you?
GCP,
Let me know, Paris. I'll send you the link. What? Okay.
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding. Oh my goodness. And of course, we have the one and only HARGEET CHANI. HARGEET, sir, thank you so much for being here, man.
Yeah.
We're so excited.
Yeah, we have some interesting news to talk about as usual, right? But there was minor little acquisition happened. And of course, they're here to support PlayStation.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Everybody get your paper clips out. What? All right, then.
Microsoft Clippy.
Oh my God.
Microsoft Clippy is here to support.
It's a Clippy holding up the PlayStation. HARGEET, you were so spicy, dude. I love that.
Hey,
welcome Paris Lily to the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome everybody in the chat. We go over 42 people here in the chat so far, just starting off, and thank you so much for being here. Please hit the like button if you get a chance. That really means a lot to us. For every like button, it makes HARGEET smile. So please just see, there worked. There you go.
It worked. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, exactly. We do have a super chat that dropped earlier. We want to because it's kind of a welcoming to everybody, so we want to make sure we get that. RHETRI.
Yeah, absolutely. Adidas20 with the $5 super chat. What's up, web and panel, Xbox community? Stand up. Gears, Banjo, COD, Starfield, Punisher, Hat, Grog. Oh, those are the
it's our icons. Yeah,
that's the icons. I was like, okay. Punisher. Yeah. So appreciate that, Adidas. Good member of the community. Started off on a good foot here. We're getting everyone coming in here slowly. I think we got like 44 people or something like that in the chat. This will obviously grow as time goes on. We know we got some other podcasters going on right now, so it's okay if you guys shovel in here late. That's fine. But yeah, tonight's show is basically a celebration. There's a lot of salt out there on the Twitterverse, and I'm here for it. Because we've been punished for 20 years, so it's our turn, man. It's our turn. So no, Xbox is not getting a Punisher game. I got excited there too. I was like, wait, what did I miss something?
he read out one of our icons in the chat.
It's the icons that went. Yeah.
So no big deal. It's but maybe someday. Who knows?
Yeah.
You never know.
Hey, we've talked about it.
Yeah, we'll get our council members going. And RHETRI, I'll let you start the show, buddy. Let you do your magic and get those questions rolling.
Sure. Yeah, we always start off every show as we let people roll in here and ask everyone what they are playing and any movies or TV shows or anything like that that have been interesting to you. I'll start with you, Hargeet. Sir, what games have you been playing?
So I let's see, I finished The Legend of Tianding, which was leaving
nice.
today. So I finished that. It was relatively short, so it wasn't too long to get through that. Let's see, before that I finished what the heck was it? The Like a Dragon Ishin, which is in the past version of Yakuza.
Right.
Which is coming to Game Pass, I think this coming week or something like that. For those who have not played any Yakuza, I highly recommend try that one because it has nothing to do with the other stories, right? So, so it's its own little tangent, but it gives you a flavor for what the kind of game is, right? So if you like that kind of game, the tone that it has, it's a mafia game basically, but set in Japan, right? So, with a sort of virtual fighter action, right? The combat is kind of virtual fighter-esque. So if that's of interest to you, try it out. And if that's cool, then you can start from the Yakuza 0, which is the beginning of the entire franchise, which all of it is in Game Pass now, I think so. But yeah, so try that out if you guys like it. I liked it. It was pretty cool. And before that, I think I was playing whatchamacallit, Starfield. But we played a little bit of Halo last night.
Nice.
We got the community back up and running playing Halo. Next weekend we'll be doing the same with the content drop, right? So we got a whole bunch of new season 5 stuff coming in. So we'll be playing that next Saturday night as well. And a little bit of Forza Motorsport. I started it up, did the first the tutorial laps that you do, and then I just kind of waited. I've heard there's bugs and stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just wait because I also want to try it on PC. And I've heard it's not very optimized yet, so I'm like, I'll just wait for a couple of weeks, see if they can get some patches out. But yeah, so I'll try that between the two of them. Mostly, I just want to see it, right? And it's in Game Pass. What the heck? I'll just see what it's like. I just want to see what the graphics are like, what the performance is like. Right, that was the incentive. I'm not much of a sim racer guy. I barely do any. I like the Forza Horizon arcadiness a little bit more my style. I'm not even in that. I'm not that much of a racing guy, but I'll play a little bit more of a Horizon because it's just a little bit more fun for me. But yeah, those are the things I've been playing. Might hit Cocoon next. See if we can get to that.
That's definitely play Cocoon. It's puzzles are I think they're a little hard, but it's a fun game. I think it's a really great game.
And the end of this week,
if you're into
some
the
fun
puzzles.
Games. Everborn should be looking forward to a game coming out a couple of days from now called Sonic something.
Damn right on Tuesday.
something.
You know. I just want to say, I have noticed something in the Xbox community. They are bullying Sonic the same way the PlayStation guys bullied Xbox during the Xbox One generation. You all should be ashamed of yourselves. You've become what you hate.
Right. Very true.
Well, the only reason I do this, of course, is Everborn decided he actually wanted to make a bet that Sonic was
I'm holding the line for Sonic.
Man.
So Mario and Spider.
No, I didn't say Spider-Man. I didn't say anything about Spider-Man.
Get it out.
I didn't say anything about Spider-Man. I said
Mario alone.
Was it Mario, right?
Probable at best. I keep looking at the charts, and the last time I checked on Amazon, Mario was at number 4.
Well, no,
Sonic was at 50.
but
was it 54? Oh my god.
Nintendo is playing some kind of funny games there where if you have like the points or whatever, they're only letting you buy Mario Wonder. They won't even let you buy Sonic right now if you're trying to pay with the Nintendo points or whatever. And I'm just saying,
so it's a conspiracy is what you're saying.
It has zero relevance.
I am just saying,
but everyone has to come up with something to
I'm just saying.
Either way, Mario will probably triple the sales.
Okay, see, this is my argument about why Sega needs to become first party, and they'll get all of that because we did this with God of War Ragnarok, but then during Black Friday, Sonic Frontiers was higher on the Amazon charts for Black Friday than Ragnarok. And what did Sony do? They started packing in Ragnarok with the PS5s.
Right. Yep.
You know, because they saw the pressure from the blue blur. You understand? So now Nintendo is doing all of this other stuff because they're all afraid. I can smell it. All the little comments.
Is Sonic on other
they're
platforms?
afraid of Sonic. Don't
Sonic
worry
on other
about that. We're not talking about that right now.
I don't even know why you're bringing this up. Like, what he's talking about is you can buy a Nintendo e-store, a voucher, right? And they'll let you buy 2 Nintendo games. For the price of like $20 off, $10 off, something like that.
But he's saying not Sonic. You can't do that.
It's not Nintendo. It's supposed to be the Nintendo games, right? So so you can buy the Nintendo games. You pre-order the Nintendo games.
Well,
and so but Sonic's not Sonic.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
So buy the Nintendo games.
RHETRI, you're saying it makes sense, but it actually doesn't make sense. Imagine you had Xbox points. Right, and they said you can only buy first-party games. No one does this. Sony doesn't do this. Microsoft doesn't do this. That's a Nintendo thing, and they're doing it when Sonic's coming out. That's just because they're afraid. They remember the 90s.
No, that's the part that you're wrong. They've just done this. Period. It's not. It has nothing to do with Sonic.
They knew this day was coming. They knew this day was coming.
Oh, all right. So
and that one thing is what destroyed Sonic because it's not on Xbox.
What took down
it's not on
Sonic.
PlayStation. It's not on PC. It's only on Nintendo. Oh wait, no, it's right on everything.
I'm just saying. Sony's doing their own thing with Spider-Man. So Xbox again is Sega's last hope.
We will definitely be talking about that for sure. We'll definitely be talking about that. That's one of the reasons you're here. Everborn though, what have you been playing for games lately, man?
He muted me. Don't talk anymore.
I'm on mute. Oh boy,
he's like, I'm not talking.
No,
screw you guys. I'm going home.
I stayed up until 4 a.m. Saturday morning, finishing Starfield.
Okay,
nice.
Right. So I did all the faction quests except for Ryujin, and I don't want to spoil it because I'm told that I spoil video games, which I don't like. But this is actually not true. I will talk about it. There's a certain statute of limitation for spoilers, right? If I'm talking about a game that came out 3 years ago, I think we're in the realm of we can talk.
Yeah,
about it.
I'm with you.
Right?
Yeah,
but I always get the blame for it, but that's fine. So what else I've been doing aside from finishing Starfield, and I made sure the reason I stayed up is because I knew Sonic and Mario were coming out in the same week. So that's another thing we should probably talk about. Like what is everybody gonna play? Like I'm gonna play Sonic, so sure. But are you guys gonna play Mario or Spider-Man? Anyway, answer that question in a second. I need to talk about this Meta Quest 3.
Do it.
Okay.
It's a game changer, man. And it's important that I'm saying this, right? Because I'm not really into VR, right? And I've been giving it a chance since the beginning. I had the original Oculus Rift, the one that only had the cable and you had to connect it to the PC along with the HDMI cable.
Right.
And I waited online outside for that when that came out originally. Then they had the Quest. I had that, the original when it was black. And then I had the Quest 2. And I'm like, I'm just waiting for this thing to get good. I believe it. I love the Matrix. I believe in the Vision. But this ain't it. Right?
Right.
It is. When I got this and I saw the AR features, right?
Yeah.
And they have gaming experiences as well. It is just, it's something different. Let me explain this to you. So firstly, I don't know if you guys saw the Apple Vision Pro thing, right?
$3,000 was it $3,000?
$3,500. They're not selling you a device, they're selling you a dev kit with that. No one's gonna buy it, no one can afford it, right? And even the people that can like actually afford it, like you'd be stupid to pay $3,500 for that unless you are a developer. So that's why I call it a dev kit, right? Because anyway, we can talk about that if you want. But this device is $500 and does pretty much the same thing. And so the idea that you can have a digital, application inside of not just a completely closed off, VR space. It is literally in your room. And if you've ever used one of those headsets, it's like a pain to set up, right? This one is just, because it has depth sensors, you just literally look around your room and then it maps where everything is. It knows where the floor is. It knows where the walls are. It knows where your couch is. It sees everything, right? And so you do that one time and then you're set up. And so now I can take what I have on the screen right now and then put it and make it like a 6-foot monitor that's just on the wall, and it knows that that's a wall and it will stay there, right?
Ooh, I like that.
And this thing, I believe, the resolution of the screens themselves, like the pixel density, is higher than what's on the Vision Pro. Now, the Vision Pro has better cameras. Don't get me wrong. The Vision Pro is doing a lot of stuff. I just don't know if that stuff is worth it. Meaning, does anyone need to see you with Starfield like dead eyes while you're in the while you're in the VR? I don't know if you need that, right?
For 6 times the cost, right?
Right. So and then there's this big like weird curved glass or whatever that in the front. Anyway, we're not talking about the Vision Pro. We're talking about this. So my point is, there's something transformative about seeing the application or game or TV show or movie that you're looking at projected in a 3D space, and it's tracking it. So you can literally walk behind it. You can put your hand behind it and your hand will be blocked, right? It does hand tracking because there are cameras looking down at the bottom of it. I'm going to turn my camera on in a second so I can show this to you. But it tracks your fingers and everything. So you can just interact with the things right in front of you by touching it. And it's so precise that they can put a virtual keyboard in front of you and you can type with all your fingers.
Now, all this stuff you're talking about, Everborn, is exactly what HoloLens is, right? And it has been for years, right? So this is why I've always said AR is really the answer, especially when it, like RHETRI, your glasses just are it. That's it.
Right, exactly.
You don't have this massive behemoth anything. That's it. It just puts whatever it needs to right in front of you, right? And it's just a pair of glasses.
But you remember, because you and I have both used the HoloLens, and I've been on this train for a while. The field of view was terrible. That's the first thing.
And the second one was a little bit better, but yeah,
it was a little bit better, but it wasn't great. And it was also $3,500. And at that point, you're selling military devices and dev kits.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and their next version, and they've been putting out more patents about it, it's to make it glasses. They want to get to the point where they can just sell you a pair of glasses. It'll be the $300 to $500 range, right? That's the intent, right? The consumer version, you're right, it can't be $3,500. That's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to have to be something very easy, and essentially it's replacing. That is the new mobile. When it gets to that point, that is your phone, right? It eliminates your phone. That becomes your phone.
The only other thing is so they're saying because the Vision Pro has better cameras, you can really see, it really feels like you're looking at real life. So with this, while the screen itself is very high res, so if you have an app, you're looking at that app in 4K, just based on the pixel density of the lenses. But the camera itself is not 4K. That's you're looking at your room in. So it's fast enough so that it doesn't feel like there's any delay in what's happening in the room around you. But the resolution of it, while it's very, very good, you're looking through a camera. You're looking through what do you call it? And I guess the Vision Pro makes you feel, because they're using higher res cameras, makes you feel like you're looking at real life. But again, that's like a small thing that I think is worth it for something that is 1/7 the price, right? We're talking about $500.
That's a crazy amount to ask for any consumer. Right.
And so those cameras will get cheaper in new versions, and then you'll have higher res. But again, the apps themselves are in 4K, right?
Right.
You're on mute, Hargeet. You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Just to mention, they do have a Quest Pro, right? And if you do want the higher end stuff, they do have some higher end capability in the Quest Pro, which is double the price.
I think that would have to be a Quest Pro 2, because this.
Yeah, there's a few capabilities in the 3 that are a little bit better.
Exactly. So I'm definitely going to be on board whenever the Pro 2 comes out, especially if it has, because I think $1,000 is the right price for this kind of tech where it is right now.
Yeah,
to be
I
accessible to a larger market. Anyway, I'm rambling. I don't think I'm rambling.
No, you're good.
So I want to explain.
AR has been the thing, though. It is
you
where
guys,
to go.
right?
Yeah.
So they have this thing called First Encounters, right?
Oh yeah.
Now remember, this is
that
AR,
the game that comes with
right?
it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So you're in your room. It's looking at your room, right?
Yeah.
And then you got a gun in your hand, and those are the controller things. There's one for each hand. I think you could use your fingers, but I use the controllers. So those things are guns. Cool. You see it. It's tracking your hands in real time, right? Now you hear a crack on the wall, and then you see your wall in your room. This is not VR. This is your wall.
It's so good.
It starts to crack, right? You
Yeah.
hear it, right? Because it's like 3D sound or whatever. So then a spaceship, little small spaceship, breaks through the wall and is sitting in your room, and you can walk around it. And it's so crazy, right? Because it went under my desk. So if I was looking on top of my desk, I wouldn't see it. That's how good the tracking is.
Damn.
So it's seeing where everything is. So now there's more cracks, and now there are aliens coming in trying to attack me. So they're little cute fuzzy aliens. So you shoot them with the gun, and it's like a bubble gun, and then it once you hit them with the bubble, the spaceship sucks them in. But then they start coming around you. They're coming from the ceiling. You go look at the ceiling, and you're seeing the sky of an alien planet, right? Like
cool.
Starfield style, right?
Yeah.
And your room is your room, but now it's like it knows where everything is, and so now you can go up to the holes in the wall and then look around and see do all that.
So weird.
This and again, VR just feels like they're putting a camera on your face, because that's effectively what they're doing, right? Or a screen in your face. They're putting a phone in your face, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is something. Listen, WebDave, I know we're all old here.
Oh yeah.
I smiled. I don't think I've smiled this way at a game since I first played Duck Hunt when I was a little child, right? Like it's something different. I'm telling you,
AR is where it's at. It's just so,
listen, productivity.
In your room doing stuff.
Yeah,
the
productivity
so cool.
side of it is pretty cool too.
Yeah, and then exactly, and it takes over your phone at some point. That's gonna be when it's just something, right? Because just walking down the street. So this is the part where the Quest 3, it's a start, but it only lasts a couple of hours, right? So when it gets to that glasses that last all day, that's when you're talking, right? That's when it's gonna be a thing. That's just gonna be the standard.
Do you want to do like dystopian hellscape talk real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
What happens when it gets so good? And just think about these like Memoji or Snapchat filters that can change your face and stuff, right? Like,
and everybody's walking around with filters.
Yes. Right. Everybody's gonna be walking around with filters. It's gonna be the sun is gonna be blotted out from global warming or whatever, right? But they're gonna show you that it's a clear sky. You're gonna get catfished by people who don't look like what they look like because they're changing their faces in real time, and everybody's gonna look at it. But at least when you're driving, you'll get AR directions printed on the road, right? Where you want to go.
Yeah.
That's the good thing. So you got to take the good with the bad. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. This really feels like this feels more next gen than any of the consoles.
And I think
it's just something.
Even though I don't think this is going to be the end thing, I really do hope people support it so that it keeps going, right? Because if there's no support of the platform, then AR won't take. I think AR is the future. It really makes sense to me, but we need to support these intermediate steps so that people keep funding it, right? So
Hargeet, let me tell you what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Apple's going to come out smelling their own farts, selling a $4,000 with tax headset. Everybody's going to be hyped and excited about it. They're going to go to the store and realize, oh my God, I can't afford $4,000. And here comes Mark
The Quest 3.
Zuckerberg with the Quest 3 working it. Well, it'll be an AI version.
Even funnier would be,
You know what I'm
oh, we
saying,
have a little
right?
sticker that looks like an apple with a little bit of a bite out of it.
Listen,
You can put it on
I'm
the
just telling
side.
you. So
I love
Apple
that.
is effectively doing the marketing for this thing, and everybody's gonna get it. That's the key to this thing. Zuckerberg's a genius.
Have
He's
you
an
have you
Android,
tried
but
the
he's-
Game Pass cloud side of it yet? Because they have
I don't think
integration with
that's
Game
out
Pass,
yet.
right?
I don't know if that's
Oh, was
out
that
yet.
not out? Okay, all right. I heard it was
okay,
coming. I
maybe
didn't
it
know
is.
if it was already out.
Maybe
let's
it
see if it
is,
is.
but
I mean,
I've
it's a
only had
virtual
this thing-
TV, right? Is that
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
whole
that's all it is.
shtick?
Yeah.
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 So
It-
which is a little odd, but it's better
But
than
the-
nothing,
the-
I guess.
Here's the thing, though, right? The AR version of it makes so much more sense because now I'm sitting in my room. I'm not like in
It's
a
December
little-
15.
Okay, so that's why.
Oh,
right?
okay.
But
all right.
like you can just, I don't care what size your TV is, make it bigger, make it the whole wall,
Yeah.
right? But
Mm-hmm.
you're still in your room. You're still, listen, I was in the AR stuff yesterday and I shared a clip on Twitter or X or whatever, Elon's bad investment. But I shared a clip and I cut it off early. So what you guys don't see is I'm in the VR and the missus walks in, but she just came out of the jacuzzi, right? And she's like, "Time for you to come to." But my point is, you can be present. Like in VR, you know, you are cut off from the world. AR, I'm having an experience, and I'm still present when people walk in. That's
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Good point.
Yeah, he's saying
Yeah,
you can install it yourself. Like it's like the Steam Deck, basically.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. I guess Kay would know.
That's awesome,
Yeah, it's
dude, man. Thanks for sharing that.
interesting that that you're bringing that up. So is there any other games outside of, like, obviously you just I don't know if Zuckerberg sent the check to you yet, but you were obviously just pushing for the Quest 3.
Oh no, he didn't.
Is there any other games you've been playing, or?
I didn't get the Zuck bucks yet, so I'm not talking about any games. They got to pay me. This don't come free.
That's right.
I just gave them a taste of what I could do for them. So when
There you
I
go.
get my check, then we'll go into more detail.
That's awesome.
Very
That's
nice.
awesome. I'm gonna welcome out over 106 people into the chat.
Nice.
Thank you all
Let's go.
so much for being here tonight. We greatly appreciate it. We have an amazing panel tonight. EVERBORN Saga, HARGEET CHANI, and of course RHETRI. And man, this is just getting started. And in the chat, we have some great ones: Kay Asante, Paris Lily, and so many more. So man, this is just great. So please hang out with us tonight. Have a little fun. And if you get a chance to, please hit the like button. I know it seems so silly and trivial, but by hitting that like button,
it helps.
is so easy to do, and it really does help us a lot. So, and if you don't like it, hit the dislike button, and we'll blame
Which
it.
also helps us.
I'm just kidding. Which also helps. Yeah, thanks. RHETRI, what we got up, man? What's our first big, huge topic? Can't imagine what
I
it's gonna be.
think we know what it is, and that's, ABK is now under the Xbox banner. It has happened. The CMA stopped being a-holes for a millisecond, and here we are.
No, they didn't. Still asshole.
I mean, oh, you're right. I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I said that. You're right. I shouldn't have. Yeah, you know what? They're still a-holes. Yeah, it's coming to an end, right? This is all intents and purposes, this is over. So we're gonna obviously talk about what we think is actually going to happen, like what this really means in the short term and what this means in the long term for Microsoft and Xbox. So I'll start off with the games catalog for ABK for you guys. Do you guys think Xbox is going to bring back the backwards compatibility program to bring many of these the older titles into Game Pass? First, I'll start with you, HARGEET. And a secondary question to that is, how long do you actually think that it'll take for these games to start seeing Game Pass?
Yep. Any games.
Yeah, so I mean,
anything at this point.
From a BC perspective, I think it's generally it tends to just work, right? So it should theoretically be okay. The real question was, did ABK actually block some of them? If they did, then yeah, here's an opportunity to bring them in, right? There's now Phil makes the choice, so
right, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
You can just say yes. So if that was the case, sure. As far as other things like getting the frame boosts or any other enhancements, 4K enhancements, or anything like that, yeah, that obviously is up to the studio, and it may or may not make sense. It may have just been like sometimes the game just doesn't work. But
Right.
if it does actually, it was blocked contractually from even coming to backwards compatibility. Sure, there's a potential there. They could even do frame boosts, right? So FPS boost, uprise and all that stuff can come up, and we'll see what they do with it. But I would assume there's going to be some, right? Because Bobby Kotick usually wasn't overly happy with these things. But to be fair, there were quite a few Activision games that were in fact in backwards compatibility, so they did have some. So if there were any being blocked, fair enough. Yeah, they might be coming over. More interestingly, will there be some ports from PC to console? That might be interesting too. But we'll see what happens there.
Right. Yeah, Everborn, do you think? I mean, what do you? I guess I'm kind of curious about the timetable here. I think they're going to bring back backwards compatibility. I think they kind of have to. But how long do you think it's going to take for some of these games to drop? Do you guys think that we'll see some of the CODs? I saw like Tom Warren saying today that he was Jez was saying that he thought it was going to drop like instantaneously, and then Tom was saying that he thinks it might come this coming Tuesday, because that's usually the first drop for Game Pass. If you guys don't know this, Game Pass, you always, every 2 weeks on Tuesdays, they let you know what's coming out on the service. So Everborn, do you see any of like the old CODs or anything dropping basically coming this week essentially?
Potentially. Tom Warren said something interesting, whereas the deal's done. You can cry about it all you want, but the deal is done. But perhaps they are being cautious until they destroy the FTC in that appeal case in December, and maybe that's why they're saying in the coming months. I don't know if I agree with that, but it's something to think about. The other thing is,
I guess it kind of depends on like if you think FTC has a chance. I mean, I don't think they have a chance whatsoever. You know what I mean?
Chance in hell. But that's neither here nor there. And I'll tell you why they don't have a chance. Microsoft's not in control. Yeah, maybe I don't know if people know this, but they actually dropped the PlayStation part of for their appeal, and they're only appealing on subscription services and cloud. The problem with that is, and the court case will tell you this, they never did any quantitative analysis on that, which means they don't really know what the harm is. So you can't really say the judge made a wrong decision, and they no longer hold the cloud rights. So that appeal is dead in the water. And now they're saying, well, because they have to put the tough face on like the CMA did. Now they're saying, well, we'll review the Ubisoft deal. We're definitely going to continue our appeal, but we'll review this before going into our admin thing. So again, not to worry about it, but maybe that process is what they're waiting on, so that then the shackles will be off. Anyway, there is one thing I did want to say, and I don't know. The commercial, the announcement commercial.
Yes.
That we played at the beginning of this show. That was the deal announcement to everybody. Can I tell you, I've watched that thing maybe 10, 15 times.
Are you looking for nuggets of information there, Everborn?
It's not that. I got like actual chills, right?
Yes.
And listen, the
music's really good too, man. They nailed the score on that.
Everyone says, oh, Xbox has terrible marketing or whatever, which is actually not true, because people can't stop talking about Xbox, even the PlayStation shows. But it's how marketing works, people. But this idea that Nintendo is so successful because of the nostalgia factor, right? Sony is so successful because a lot of people grew up on Sony, and they tell stories that speak to people, right, in their games, because they're all walking simulator movie games. But I'm joking. That was a joke. I can't wait for Spider-Man to come out. And God of War was one of my favorite games this year. I didn't play it one. Anyway, the point is, for a lot of people, they don't get that with Xbox, except for maybe with Halo, right? There are people that love Gears, but it's not an emotional attachment, right? Halo, in a way, because people remember back to their college LAN party days. This commercial showed you, right? Because Activision is a 40-year-old company, it kind of touches on the heartstrings that has people in the feels. And so that level of marketing, because we know Activision's great at marketing, right?
Yeah.
They started a fire
Absolutely.
in Canada and turned the sky red for Diablo, right? That's how good they are at marketing. but we know that they're good at marketing. And so I think that commercial is a taste of the marketing skill that we're going to get as a result of this deal. Because this is so much bigger than is this exclusive coming or is that exclusive coming or what's in Game Pass. It's all the things, the talent that Activision has that they're going to be helping Microsoft with all their IPs. And if they're doing things that make you feel something, they're off to the races. And I don't know that anybody picked up on that, but like it's just
I don't know that was ABK in any way. I think that was actually just Microsoft. And
I wonder who made that. I feel like it's Microsoft, but I know what you're saying. Like
yeah.
The marketing is definitely there. It's a great video. I think it got what? I think the last count was like 25 million
plus right now. Could be more. But Hargeet, I'm telling you right now, I didn't get those feels with the video they did for the ZeniMax purchase, and I played more ZeniMax games than I do.
They've also changed out the team. They've changed out the team quite a bit.
Well, the point is,
are you talking the marketing team, Hargeet?
Yeah,
the showcases team, the folks that are doing this stuff. Yeah, it's all. Yeah, it's been spruced up.
Whoever they are.
Yeah.
Kudos to them, and I think that
was really good. Yeah, it was really good.
It was good.
If this is a taste of what the marketing is going to be like, that has you in the feels, you know what I'm saying? I think we're in for something special. But okay, now I can get back to answering your question. I'm sorry for that tangent. No. It was really striking. I've never seen an Xbox commercial except for maybe when they showed something with people playing with their kids coming up when the Halo launcher. I can't remember. But for the most part, you don't feel like that. Then you don't get that gut punch with the Xbox.
I agree.
And this
that's why we opened the show with it, because it, like me and Dave talked about it. This is super impactful, and obviously you're seeing it with how many people are watching this thing, and it hits the feels for sure. You're like all these games, all these IP, all these characters coming together. COD coming home, and we got PlayStation's old mascot essentially. It's crazy. It almost doesn't feel real. You know what I mean? It might feel a little more real when the games start dropping.
Yeah.
But I'll let you continue on that point, Everborn. Go ahead.
They said Phil Spencer's like the Trey Songz of the gaming industry. He's like Mr. Steal Your Girls, like Mr. Steal Your IP. But the thing is this. Last thing I'll say on that marketing thing. It really felt like it was speaking to me or us collectively, because we've been so invested in this deal, going through, reading all the documents, doing shows about like random court hearings, right? Like people listening to live proceedings for a merger antitrust hearing.
I know, right?
Crazy. Oh my God. I say this was our OJ trial, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
The thing is, right? The way when they say a beautiful morning, we all wanted, who were in favor of the deal, we wanted it to be done. And they start in the cornfield or whatever that was, and it made so it was evocative of the ending of Endgame, where Thanos was like, the job is done, right? And so it kind of felt like that was us, and now it's a new day, like at Xbox. And so it's just if you were as invested as we all were, it just feels that much better when you watch that thing. Okay, now I can answer your question. I had to give that commercial its flowers.
No, I love it. Yeah.
I was very surprised at the Activision tweet that said, thought there was a
Diablo and
possibility
COD
we could get COD this year. I know that there's a thing, but Sony signed the deal, and we know that deal that they said wasn't changed. They both agreed that the marketing deal would end and Sony would stop paying them. And if it's the same deal, I thought that there was a chance they could do Modern Warfare 3 this year for the in Game Pass. But I understood if they couldn't. Diablo made less sense to me, because we know there's nothing in place because Xbox has the marketing, right?
Yeah.
So there's no contractual thing. And what I think is, it's so late in the game, right? They probably figure, listen, we can get one last hurrah that people will let us get away with and sell these things for full price during holiday.
Bingo.
And then bring them in.
That's it.
Next year.
Yep.
So is there?
That's why I said the same thing. That's why I said Diablo Q1 next year, because they want those Diablo, the last hurrah sales, I think, especially with the new season coming up too, like which is happening soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of the approach, I would like, and I know C Money in the chat. Shout out to C Money.
What's up, brother?
He says he wants just one big drop. I don't think so. I don't think that does anybody any favors. And listen, I'm not even talking about the business. I don't care about the business, because we'll say business wise, you don't want to just blow your wad. Pause. Right. But as a gamer who is struggling with backlog issues, if you drop all those games at once, then none of them get to shine. Right.
Yeah. Exactly. I agree.
You can drop them out, and then I can say, okay, cool, I'm gonna play this. You can give proper advertisement to the ones that are coming each month, and I'd rather it that way, because I'm not gonna have time, and then things are gonna listen. Everybody has 2 backlogs, right? One of them is the backlog that you're actually gonna play, and the other one is like an honorable mentions list, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So I always say, like, when I put something on Netflix in my watch later, I'm never gonna go back to that, right?
And Xbox has that too. I actually made a video about that. I was like, hey, in case you guys didn't know this exists, there's a play it later function on Xbox. And it's funny that you say that, Everborn, because it's like some of those have been in my play it later for over a year, which means I'm probably not going to touch them. You know what I mean?
Right. But you appreciate them, so you just want to say, I acknowledge.
I need that reminder though, just in case I get an hour of time.
That's the thing. If you do that at one time, most of the things are going to get missed. And here's the important part about releasing this thing in stages. When they get the sort of metrics and analytics or whatever of what games do well in Game Pass, guess what? That's your market research on which things you should remake.
Yeah, very good point. I love that you brought that up. I don't think anyone's thinking of it in that regard. That's a very good litmus test right there.
It is important. And there's also like, as they're bringing them in, the console side is a little easier since it's really just entitlement. It's the PC side that's not as easy, because they do have to port it over to the Microsoft Store. So they need to take their time, get it done right, like release. They might release a few games that are just console, but they should do it, with the full cloud, console PC at the same time. And so there'll be batches of a few games here and there. It's going to be like that. And to your point, they're not going to, let's say they take all of the old Call of Duties and put them out at the same time. What engagement are you going to get with them? You might get one of them, and then the other ones will get forgotten. So it's better to kind of stage them out throughout the year, right? So you get those, but you can also add other genres of games. They have so much, right? So you can put in a Crash Team Racing along with Call of Duty, 4, right? And throw those together, right? And things like that. I know for a fact they're not going to, because they learned from doing it with Zenny that it's just not a good idea. They did like a bunch at the same time.
20 dump after 3 days.
Yeah, they just get lost in the mix.
Again, it got lost in the mix. It's not. I don't think Everborn's opinion is popular, and I don't think mine is either, because a lot of people I talk to like, no, dump them all at the same time. But I actually agree with Everborn. My back catalog is insane, and I'd rather get a drip feed. And that's a personal thing. That's just me. Everyone's going to think about this a little bit differently. But I swear to God, I'd rather probably get, even though I'm like the Game Pass guy, I'd rather probably get like one game a week. I feel is at least somewhat manageable. You know what I mean? Every Tuesday, give us a new COD, or every Tuesday, give us a COD and maybe a Spyro or a Tony Hawk or whatever.
The best way to guarantee I'm not playing any of those games is dropping them all at once.
Yeah, because there's no way.
100%.
Hard.
You know when you're looking for a movie to watch on Netflix?
And there's too much 90 choice.
Minutes,
yes.
Trying to find the movie.
Choice overload, dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Paralysis. It's literally paralysis. You're like, and you go back to the beginning of the thing. You go from A to Z, and you go right back to A, and you're like, I don't know what I just saw.
And they'll do probably a bunch in the summer, because that makes sense, right? You get it's the lowest time usually for games to come out. So they might do like 20 of them over the summer months, right? Just to kind of give you a load of games during that lull.
David said they should drop all the old Spider-Man games this week.
Oh, I love that.
God, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
I mean, can you imagine if that was the first set Everborn? If that was like this Tuesday, if they were just like, here's Ultimate Alliance, here's like all the Spider-Man games.
Yeah. I mean, not all of them, but at least like a couple of them. If they could actually pull that off, like the last ones that they made, just put them out the same day. That would be awesome.
Oh my God. That would be the ultimate baller move right there. 100%.
Those
Dave,
kind of things probably could happen.
Yeah, you never know.
I'm still holding out hope.
If Matt Booty was running things, that's exactly what would happen.
Yeah, Peaches, Gangsta Peaches, definitely.
Well, but we don't know what Phil will do. We assume that Phil will not do those kind of things. But
probably not.
Maybe not, right? But he might just do it, right? And I'm still holding out hope that somehow they will somehow get Modern Warfare 3 remaster, remake, whatever the heck it is, day and date into Game Pass, because they can pull it off. It's really a question of, do they want to pull it off, right? If
you're saying like would that involve like Sony has right? I mean, would they just have to pay off Sony's contract, or would Sony? I mean, Sony doesn't have to do that, right? Sony can say no, go F yourself and keep the marketing rights, right?
Let me throw something down to you, Hargeet, before you answer that question. What if? And a lot of people don't realize this, Call of Duty sells all year round, right? Yep. What if what they drop in Game Pass this holiday is Modern Warfare 2? That's still selling at full price right now.
That's what I think is happening.
Right? And
that's where I'm thinking.
The last year's COD will always be in the top 10, even when the new COD comes out. That's just how big it is. And I think it would be a huge drop in November to say we're doing Modern Warfare 2, which was last year's. And that would be 1 year after Sony dropped it. So technically it won't be under Sony's rule.
So there's several things, right? There may be contractual obligations that lock it, right? We heard hints about that from, I think Sarah Bond said it on the stand when they were doing the FTC trial, right? So or the hearing, whatever. I think there is some potential that there are marketing locks. And that would be I think a 1 year lock. I think that's what the hint was, but but given that, okay, let's assume that there is contractual language in their contract, with Sony that says you can't put it in Game Pass. However, if that's the case, they did sign a 10-year deal, and Jim Ryan did want to get out of it, right? And it makes sense, because why the hell would he spend hundreds of millions of dollars advertising, marketing your game when it's Microsoft's game, and they've got hundreds of billions in the bank? They can go market their own bloody game. What the hell's the point, right? So now there is the point of it's attached to PlayStation for one last time, but that's one last time. And they know that gravy train's done, right?
Well, here's the thing.
So what does it behoove them to waste the money? They could just take that money, and Jim Ryan's about money, right? So he's going to push to keep his money. Yes, you might have to get a refund. If that's the case, they might have to get a refund. They've already gotten some benefits, right? The demo, the beta came out first for one side versus the other. Fair enough. Well, so go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So I'm just to add on some flavor,
some spice.
Yeah. Come on. That's almost disrespect to offer spice to you, the man who just ate the one chip like that. But you know what I'm saying. The thing is, I think because we're so late in the game that Sony would have already had to start, paying some of that money or whatever.
I love that, Hargeet.
So it could be that because it just closed on Friday, we're so far into it and the game's already announced that some of that stuff kicks in. Right. So they can't do it. Now on the other hand, if the deal starts right away, Sony's going to go to a 30% split. And I think them going to a 30% split is more beneficial to them than those marketing rights this year. Because guess what? 25 million views within a few hours of that announcement. It's being talked about on every social media thing and every news network. No one doesn't know that COD is now an Xbox thing, even if you're casual, right?
Just had a barbecue yesterday, man. People who don't know anything about video gaming, and even they knew. They're like, "Oh, that ABK thing happened." I was like, "What?
On all
How do you guys
the
know about
networks.
that?"
It's on the radio stations. You can't get away from it. So, does it make sense for them to market a game that everyone knows is not theirs? It's almost like an embarrassment.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. It's just so hard to know what Jim Ryan's still there, what he's gonna do. We've seen him do like things that are not
actually doing anything.
Yeah, you're probably right. But even Sony in general,
I don't think his key card still works.
That may be
like,
fact.
Why?
Rejected.
Security
You
guard.
don't like
come on,
traveling, huh? You can just stay at home.
No entry allowed. No entry allowed.
But look, the reason you do all this, right? Look, I don't know how much cash they brought over, but ABK had a lot of cash on hand, and we're talking billions. So like maybe like 10, 13, 15 billion in just cash, pure cash in their bank, right? So if they had to pay back a couple of 100 million or 150 million or 100 million or 50 million, whatever to Sony, that check is easy for them to write. They don't care, right? So that's not a big deal, right? Nothing. So if that eliminates the contractual headache and they suddenly now have the ability to do it, the reason you do it is Sony is leaderless. They have no way to respond right now. That's just a reality. They have no way to respond to anything Microsoft does for the next 5-6 months. They're leaderless, right? So they're on this side. They're increasing their console price. They're increasing their service price. They're giving you no roadmap of games outside of what's coming out in this coming week with Spider-Man. That's it. So that is their big blockbuster. That's it, right? This whole year they've had one game. That's it. That's
why Jim's key card doesn't work anymore.
Right, and so that's their whole bet, right? That is going to sustain them for going into next year when maybe summertime we get a showcase from them again that tells us that hey, there's another game coming that you might actually want to play, right? So fair enough, that's kind of where they are. Whereas Microsoft could just go like all out and say, you know what, we're going to take on the marketing of COD and go all in on it, and then we're going to put it in Game Pass and we're going to advertise the heck out of it. And we're going to give you a $250 Series S with COD and Game Pass and blah, 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 right? Go nuts, right? Right now is your chance. Right now is your chance to just go into the market and get the market, right? Because your competitors decided to go this way. You have a chance to go that way. So it's up to you, right? But like, don't take that opportunity and squander it.
Well,
you have the option.
Let me
do it.
Let me actually you for just 1 second, Hargeet.
Yep.
You know that your biggest new IP, Starfield, just launched.
Yep.
And we know that holiday season is the best selling period.
It is.
Do you not want to give Starfield a chance to shine this holiday in Game Pass?
No. You go ahead, but I'll just say that answer is no.
You don't take your foot off. You don't take your foot off the neck, right, Hargeet?
Yeah. But it's not that. You would say that every time, because remember now this is Microsoft's game period, right? So that will be every single time they have another game. Should they outshine that game with no. Call of Duty is just a staple. It's going to be there. It's a FIFA. I don't care. It's going to be there.
That means you just don't
do not make that a problem with other games.
November, right? Like that's your holiday game.
Yeah, and it came out in September, and you have Forza is October, and that would be November, right? So, but I would never take Call of Duty and compare it to any of the other games. Let them shine on their own, because that's always going to be the case, right? Call of Duty is just one of those games. Like don't bring up Madden, don't bring up FIFA, don't bring up Call of Duty, because they will come every year and they will sell 20 million, 30, whatever the heck they're going to sell. I don't care. Don't ever consider that. So to me, I wouldn't even go there. Call of Duty has its core audience that's going to always buy it. It's just the way it is, right? Those who want to play a Starfield, they're going to play a Starfield. Those who want to play Fable, they're going to play Fable. They're not going to stop because of Call of Duty. So I wouldn't put them in the same thing. I wouldn't even bother.
Let me ask you a question. In the announcement, did it strike anyone that they didn't say Xbox Bethesda and then Activision Blizzard King, and they just said Xbox?
In the announcement of the joining?
Yeah. And that
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm of two minds about it, right? One is, you don't want to take away from this moment because this moment is about ABK. It's not really about Zenny, but they did still show them love because Starfield and Elder Scrolls was all over that.
Yeah.
But you keep it focused on what you're talking about, which is, hey, this is about Xbox plus, what do you call it? We hear Starfield 5 times because you can buy that right now, but this is what we're talking about. On the other side of it, is it like, hey, we got Bethesda when we needed it, but now this is the main show in town.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean,
who cares about those other guys?
I wouldn't discount them. I don't know that that's the case. I think eventually that is probably what it's going to end up being, is just Xbox, because you can't keep saying it's Xbox plus Bethesda.
I agree.
Plus
we got to stop
Activision,
doing that.
plus
Thank you,
Blizzard.
Hargeet.
It's just not going to work, right? So, because then it's going to be whoever's next, Sega, Square,
Embracer
whoever the heck it
or
is.
Sega.
It's like, no, stop. It's just Xbox. And I think just because it's the merger, right, like announcement that they're showing Xbox plus ABK, and then next year it's just going to be Xbox, because they have to get to that point. They have a whole ton of studios. That's fair. But like, you can't have the Xbox at the Activision, Bethesda, Blizzard showcase. Like, forget it. No, I'm not at Sega or something. No. It's going to get ridiculous. Yeah. So
never mind. I mean, like behind you, I mean, we're running out of damn room. Like this, I can't even see what's on there anymore. It's just too, like there's so many damn studios, and it's gonna
buy
keep
another
going.
publisher and decrease the font. We'll be out.
There you go. Okay, I need to jump in real quick. Just so we can get things caught up in perspective. First of all, we got over 200 people in the audience right now in the chat. Thank you all so much for being here. Another big thing is, please, if you're here, hit the like button, or if you don't like the content, hit the dislike, but please do one or the other. We greatly appreciate you being here more than you know, and it doesn't cost you anything to do that. It's absolutely free. But another thing I want to also mention out is that we do have a poll going right now, and that is, who do you want Microsoft to buy next? Choices are Sega, Square, a bunch of studios they work with, or everything. And with that said, we're going to also RHETRI. We're Drawn TJ upped his membership again. Thank you so much for doing that, Drawn TJ. We greatly appreciate you being here. And then he has a super chat, and then we have one more after that, and then we'll get back to the topics.
Yeah, absolutely. Drawn TJ with the $2 super chat. Xbox by Sega and all of WB be done. I was playing Call of Duty with Drawn earlier today, and I know some people make fun of Drawn because he's like, buy it all, but you know what, I'm greedy and I don't care. I'm with Drawn. I love the Sega idea, and I've been touting WB for a long time, and I know Hargeet has too, so you are in good company, Drawn TJ, tonight. Spartan 661 with the $5 super chat. If Xbox is to buy a studio, go for the head, Square Enix. He's going for the salt, Spartan, this guy. Sega will wait for you. That's a good point. The X will always call you to let you know they are there. That's a valid point. That's a valid point, Spartan. Holla.
Yeah.
Hey,
Everborn doesn't like that idea, I'm sure, but
he doesn't. Everyone's like,
I don't disagree. Like, Square is in trouble right now.
I would have a lot to say.
But we've discussed this before, Everborn, right? The obvious choice is Square because of its financial status, right? And then Sega is the next one you would try to hopefully go after, but we all want, like, at least you and me, we want Sega because those are the IPs we want. But it is what it is. It's got to make sense financially. It's got to make sense from a business perspective,
right?
And it's got to fit those, fill the gaps that they have in the lineup.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what it's for.
Exactly. So, that's definitely important. Oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
You don't purchase any publishers until maybe after the next election, when the FTC changes hands for
Someone said that in the chat earlier today too, and I kind of agree with that. I was just like, it might be good to
right now. I think you don't want to make waves. Also, there might have been a little bit of shade in this. I can't tell with Shaun Layden. But what he said, the integration is more difficult than acquisition by a factor of 10.
And he's not wrong.
Right?
Okay.
He's not wrong. It takes a lot to bring people in. And that's one of your topics, I think so.
And so the thing is, I know this is Microsoft. I know they have like 250,000 employees or whatever. Literally 250,000 employees.
Right.
It's actually crazy. So they
15,000 heads is no joke.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's a lot of people.
And this is the thing. I do kind of want them to focus on integration. Obviously, if somebody comes, comes to you, you know, naked and hungry with a 10 looking for change, then you have to you got to jump in, right? And maybe that's Square or whatever. But I really I'm wary of Square because I know there's new leadership there, but I don't know how well they would integrate a Square.
Yeah, that's a good point. Integration with Square might be a little tougher,
right? And
with the whole culture there, right?
Right. They've been working on this relationship with Sega for a very long time. And Sega, you know, through this partnership that they announced, you know, they're already using Microsoft tech to build their next, you know, flagship game. They are already working with Xbox on marketing. They're partnering up with them. They're already utilizing Game Pass for almost all of their launches, and so they're seeing success in these things. And so I think it's better, especially for a region that you don't really understand and they're gonna have to be autonomous.
Right.
It's better you're gonna work with a partner that you have a close relationship with. Yes, Square may come available, but will that actually work out? Will there be a culture clash? Will they be working with you but telling your secrets to Sony? You just don't know.
Be another Platinum Games like type of relationship. Yeah, right? I don't know. I like we know like
it's a whole thing to broach though, right? To your point, it doesn't matter if it's Sega or Square or any other publisher over there. Right. You're gonna have to have a leader over there that handles that part of it. And translates what you need with them. It's just the way it is. You know, I'm sure Phil has actually been doing quite a bit of that himself. So has Sarah Bond, right? They've been trying to work out how do we work with Japan, right? So you know, I don't want to take anything away from them as leaders. I'm sure they've been working through that as well. But to your point, yes, there's got to be somebody. And they just hired somebody, right, from Sony. They hired somebody from PlayStation to do that exact thing.
Yet. Don't trust them. They might be feeding secrets. You don't know.
I don't think so.
It's an inside job.
No, fair enough.
They're inside the house, EVERBORN.
But if that was the case, that's happening all over the place because there are plenty of PlayStation employees at Xbox, plenty of Xbox employees at PlayStation, or Nintendo. Or, it doesn't matter. They're all over the place, right? The industry.
Yeah, and why do you think their prices and specs are so close to each other? Because they're feeding information, man.
Oh, I think they just do that openly.
Espionage.
No, they do that openly. That's not hidden. They just do that openly, right? They all make decisions together. That this is what we're going to do, right?
Yeah,
the last update in prices. Well, yeah, it is. No, you're right. It is
super illegal, but sure.
I mean, price fixing or collusion to have prices be the same is actually kind of illegal, right? When I think it was Xbox who did it last,
but only kinda,
right? That we're going to set our bar at this much, so we expect our games to only be that high or lower, right? And that's okay, fair enough, right? But I don't think like even that was changed. Some games came up that were higher, but it doesn't matter. It is what it is. That was the normal approach, $60. That's max. After that, it was up to publishers. They kind of came in and said, no, we're going to go higher, right? So, so even that was not agreed to. And so this is an interesting model, right? Should prices be fixed? Like in Blu-rays, when I still buy physical Blu-rays. It's random. Like some publishers have very high prices, some have very low prices, and you can make a determination, right? Disney's pretty high priced. Usually they have theirs at like 10, 15 more than their competitors, right? And some come in like 10, 15 bucks right when they come out, and like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll just pick it up. It's impulse buy to me versus $40. Like, wow, I pay $40 for a movie, Jesus Christ, right? So like, you know, and but that's up to them, right? And that's a more open market, you know, choice. Then I get to choose. Well, that's not worth that much to me, and then the publisher can engage from there. But that is not what's happening in gaming. You're right. It is very collusive. They basically all lock prices to the same bloody level, right? So you have like the AAA, the AA, and indie, right? And well, how does that indie know that that's what they should charge, right? It could be higher, it could be lower, right? It really just depends on how much input was into the game, how much effort went into the game, and how much its value is, right? We don't have that kind of system in an open market. It is very odd in gaming. It is due some sort of change.
You actually don't see this in other places, right? So
you don't.
Nope.
Think about it. Like, there's no fixed price for a car, even a class of car. Like it's
all random. It's up to the
random range. Movie theaters don't even do this, right? Like
even better yet, you have a whole slew of car dealerships, and it's up to them to work with you on whatever price. So even dealership to dealership of the same manufacturer, it's different pricing. It's up to you to work that with your dealer. And so it is very weird that this industry is so locked on everything. The console is almost always the same price, and the games are all the same. It's like, come on, really?
Two quick things on that point. Like for cars, I'm actually in the thing about buying a car. Like I noticed like the new Hummer is coming out, and the EV version of the Hummer, which is pretty awesome. But like it on the sticker thing, it has, you know, here's the suggested retail price
MSRP,
from the manufacturer, and then it has like a $30,000 fee on that saying the market value increase because of demand that they can just throw on, and they can just make up whatever number they want.
Yeah, and again, that's up to you with your dealer to say, am I going to pay that or not? Right?
Right. They have that option to do that. It's crazy.
And this, my friend, is why Tesla is running away with the market, because these car dealers cannot get out of their own way, right? And you see a price for a Tesla, that's the price.
Yep.
You don't deal with any of that other stuff.
True.
You buy, and
you just know what it is, and you're not negotiating. This
is completely an aside, right? So I am whenever I'm in a car dealer, I'm just an asshole, right?
Yep.
Because I already know what they're trying to do, right?
Yeah.
And so because they play these games. So I was podcasting on Saturday. And my wife, she has a car that's a lease that she has that we're gonna keep to give away to a family member or whatever. And she goes into the dealer while I'm on a show. I'm like, just wait for me. I'm gonna go with you. She goes there.
Oh no.
And they're in there telling her, well, you got to do this financing option. And I'm like, hold on a minute. You have your own financing. You've dealt with that. He's like, no, but that's not going to get approved because we need to do this. And he was basically trying to force her into taking the loan that he's going to get the fee on versus the financing that she already had. And his loan was a higher rate, right? Silly. This is what they do. So I don't have, there's a reason why there's this like, and if you're a car dealer, no disrespect to you, but actually all disrespect. But
he's still going to be an asshole to you.
The thing is, right? That whole model is garbage. And we need a new model. And I'm not taking Elon bucks, but I'm just saying the experience is completely different. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know how we started talking about that.
I don't know. We go off on tangents all the time here. I told you that was okay, Everborn.
So a big tip for everybody is to definitely go and talk to your bank first, get your financing and everything in order and secured and approved. And then when you go to the dealer, they can look at you like, hey, and you're like, oh, I already have it.
Before you even go to the dealer,
I'm good to go.
Know what you want.
Yep.
Know what it costs the dealer. Right, and then walk in and say, "I'm paying you this much over your cost, and take it or leave it."
And that's the key. That's a key, Hargeet.
Take it or leave it. That's my favorite line. This is what I'm gonna pay. You don't like it, and I walk. And I've had so many guys chase me down. All of a sudden, I can't. Right, exactly. Right. Oh, all of a sudden, I did the fight. I just looked at our numbers real quick, and all of a sudden, I can save you an extra $2,000. Like, wow, that's magic.
No, and that's the real thing. Because when she got into that lease, I was there with her, and I was like, listen, she's paying this amount every month. Can you do it or not? Oh, you can't? Cool. You got to talk to your manager? That's fantastic. I don't have a lot of time. I'm leaving here in 15 minutes. Can we do it? Do we have a deal? We don't have a deal.
We got to go. Exactly. TikTok.
Remember, they're not your friends. They're going to use sales tactics.
They want money, obviously.
No. Yeah. But this is the thing. They're going to play on, they kind of try to read the person and be like, oh, this person has an ego. Let me tell them, oh, so you can't afford it? Or they'll be like, or they'll do the other thing where they'll keep you in there where you don't want to go, but you want to be polite. And so they don't give you a chance to politely leave.
Yeah.
And this is when you got to be like, listen.
Gotta go. Yep. Hey, read that real quick, Retri.
Right. This is exactly what I was saying, Masso. Oh, I just spoke to my general manager, and the time it took me to like walk 10 steps, all of a sudden they talked to the general manager, and they found some extra money for me.
Let's get
let me do this $20 super chat from Hoarder in the Borderlands. I love that name. I find it funny when people say this acquisition will ruin gaming, because from the perspective of gamers and the investors even sent a message to CMA a few months ago asking for updates. Actually wanted this. Yeah, it's like everybody wanted this, right?
And the employees. Let's not forget the employees.
Especially the employees.
and the union.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. Bye, Bobby.
Yes. Wait a minute.
Unions,
and the other publishers. You literally have the Take-Two.
Well, now why Everborn, right? But why? Because they're like, cha-ching, someday, because this is what you do, right? When you're creating a company, you're like hoping some rich guy's going to buy you out, because they're like, if we F them over, they're going to F us over later, so guys like Embracer, who did what they did, we all suspected them, they were just buying all the IP and getting the stuff on the cheap to just sell it right back out, which is probably exactly what's going to happen too, and Microsoft will be able to step in, and you don't want all these other people to say, but it's not only that shouldn't happen.
It's not only that. If Sony can no longer rely on one of their premier partners, right, they're going to have to find someone to fill that void. So they're going to have to work something out with Take-Two or EA or Ubisoft. And guess what, folks? That's how competition works. You had a fiefdom that was ABK every year, and they had that deal with for over a decade with Sony, and other people couldn't get in. So maybe now Sony can put their marketing power and help behind the next Battlefield, and then you can have some competition in the market. You see how I like that. This is the thing. If the only argument against this deal was we don't like Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
And just hear me out. So gamers like the deal, and the game will become more accessible. It'll become cheaper. And that's not me saying a talking point. I'm saying the game will be cross-buy across Xbox and PC. It will still be on PlayStation, and it will be in Game Pass for cheaper. So more people, and it'll be in the cloud. More people will play the game.
And Nintendo, that we keep forgetting about.
And Nintendo.
I know.
Right? So
what?
So, cool. Right? Now, we say, all right, well, what about the other publishers in the industry? You know what EA said when they asked them about the deal? Was good for Microsoft is good for us. And even if they buy Activision, we'll still be the biggest publisher on Xbox. Right? You know what else? They said Take-Two. Take-Two said, we're fine with the deal. These things happen. I mean, Take-Two did just purchase Zynga, but Take-Two said there's only really one person complaining. Cool. Nintendo signs the deal. Guaranteed this thing. Valve, we don't think you should have to sign a contract. Right? I
love that. I love that.
Because we're not a-holes, right?
Yeah. We trust
then,
it. Right.
Then NVIDIA, they complained about the deal, but they got the palms greased, right?
They got their deal. That's what they wanted. Right. They wanted their contract.
Did a 180.
Now,
exactly, Hargeet.
Now, we could also point out that Microsoft signed a huge $1 billion contract for GPUs for their AI, and maybe that has something to do with it. But
a little side deal.
The point is, everybody's happy. So the industry's happy, right? The gamers are happy. Well, most gamers are happy. And then guess what? All the employees are excited, right? Then the unions come in, because we said, what about the workers? And everyone who didn't want this deal to go through, you notice how they like completely about-faced and was like, F the workers, it doesn't matter. We want you to pay more. And the only opposition to support the devs who want the deal. And all of this, 22 months. You know what this is in service of? This was in service of Sony keeping a marketing deal, if you really boil it down to that.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
So we went through federal court. And listen, at the end of the day, right? I said this from the beginning. Let the process play out. The facts are on Microsoft's side. It's not going to be anti-competitive. And guess what? It was a $70 billion deal, and it got heavily scrutinized, and they just didn't let Microsoft walk away with no things, even though
right.
Yeah. So there were
Absolutely.
concessions made. You gave Ubisoft, who was in trouble, a lifeline in case cloud takes off. The narrator says cloud won't take off. And then but the point is, right? So you have the industry happy with it, you have the employees happy with it, you have the unions happy with it, you have all the regulators either happy with it or needing concessions to then be happy with it. And then you have Lena Khan. No, we're not talking about that right now. What we are talking about is right.
I love it.
It doesn't have to be all consolidation is bad, right? If there is going to be consolidation, make sure everybody's happy. Right. And,
I agree.
And that's that's not a terrible thing. And is it the worst thing in the world if Sony has to sweat?
No,
right? Because when they
the
don't
best
sweat,
thing in the world.
What do you get?
They sit on their laurels. They raise their prices. They do what they've been doing the last year, right?
Exactly.
Right. When they're not sweating, you're paying $30 for a stand to stand
for a plastic piece of shit. Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
What is going on over there?
Not sweating, they're raising the price of the console 3 years in, and they're raising prices, and they're charging you for next gen upgrades, and they're selling you direct.
Let them cook
again. Right?
Exactly. I'm letting you cook.
Yeah.
This is like maybe they should fear going out of business, and then that way, guess what? Listen, we only have Game Pass. It's not because Microsoft's running a charity, right? They needed something to compete, so they had to offer value for the customers, and it got everybody talking about it. And here we are this time. Now, what do you think we get? Look when Sony was smelling their own farts the last time. You got the PS3, right? And they had to retrench. They had to invest in studios because all your favorite games from Sony came from studios they acquired. I hate to break it to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Newsflash. Yep.
So you like Last of Us? Naughty Dog was an acquired studio. You like Horizon? Guerrilla was an acquired studio, right? You like Ghost of Tsushima? I can't remember the studio makes that.
Sucker Punch.
Also an acquired studio.
Insomniac,
right?
Obviously.
Insomniac.
You love Spider-Man. An acquired studio. So what did? But again, doesn't count when they do it. That's all organic, right? But the point is, the point that I'm making is, Sony got their teeth kicked in with the PS3, and then they had to retrench, and we got the PS4.
Right.
One of the greatest, if you like that stuff, consoles in whatever, right? And you got all those games, and we all love it. So how about we put them under pressure again, right? Because that's going to build diamonds, and maybe if they feel that pressure,
and fewer gas games.
So if
it's like they're dropping like flies too, Hargee. It's like what gas game is actually going to see the freaking light of day? I don't know.
Well, listen, I said this before, but I'll say it here for the sake of this audience. Where's the growth in the gaming industry? That's a question for the panel. Where's the growth coming
mobile,
from?
PC.
We know where it's coming. Yeah,
mobile PC.
Definitely PC, at least for Game Pass on that side for sure.
Now, $4 to $5 billion worth of acquisitions. I think 5-6 studios plus Bungie for 3.6 billion that you don't control, right?
Right.
What investments has Sony made towards growth areas in the industry?
So they did get Nixxes for PC, which is something useful.
But that's
that's smart.
Games,
and,
right?
And then they got one very, very, very
Fire
small
that never made a game.
Mobile
that
hasn't made a game.
Right. So
with
so
like
my
10
point
people
is,
or something, 5 people or something.
Right.
It was something like that. It was very small. It's a very small studio.
I know.
So $5 or $6 billion later, let's call it $4.5 billion later. You got a porting studio for PC. You don't have a store. You got one mobile dev which hasn't released a game. And now your competitor owns Candy Crush, COD Mobile, Diablo Immortal.
Diablo. Yep. And a
already
crap
own
ton of other
Minecraft,
games no one's ever heard of,
right?
but that make more money than everything.
And
Minecraft.
And you, right, Minecraft. And you just pissed them off, right? And then the $3.6 billion studio you bought, you don't even really own it, and they're canceling your games, right?
Yeah, because they're saying it's not good enough.
They're not right now invested in the future. And so if you're not invested in the future, the only way you're going to grow is by hashtag charge them more, right? So they have to make more money out of the people that they have. And here's the thing. The only other way you're going to grow is by increasing your market share. Good luck getting market share from Nintendo. Right? So then the only other place to get market share from is Microsoft. And you're beating them 2-1. There's nothing more to take. You can't take blood from a stone. But Microsoft, you're definitely not taking it from them now that they got ABK. So where is your growth vector? You know what? I'm gonna have to
I love that one. That was so good.
I didn't see it. Which one was it?
Apple
was it Red Dead? What's up, Red Dead? Apple plus PlayStation equals Mac Station. Think limits. Red Dead, the slander. That's a good one.
So if this is about competition, let us have competition.
Compete,
limits.
Exactly. Welcome out to the over 250 people in the chat right now. Thank you all so much for being here. Please hit the like button. Yeah, and Kay Asante said we had to make sure that you got your points out tonight because you were kind of talked over a lot on your own show.
Oh yeah. It was a revolving door. There was a lot of people on that show. We don't do that over here. That's too much.
We had like more than 13 people on the show over the course of everybody came and left. Okay, but the thing is, I was going down a tangent of I don't believe that Sony is invested for the future.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right.
I mean, it's obvious, right? Why do you think Jimbo's out? There's a reason. Somebody's seeing this.
Mistakes were made under his tenure.
The intermediate CEO is a mobile guy who wants more mobile games. Gee, I wonder what the direction's gonna be.
But here's the thing: on top of everything I just said, 60% of their production budget has been shifted towards gas games.
Right.
That means they are more focused on gas games than what their bread and butter is. Here's the problem. They're doing that at a time where 9 out of 10 gas games that get announced are grand opening, grand closing.
Yeah, right.
Where we are, excuse me, right now, and I've asked this question 3 times this week, and no one has given me an answer on this. Name a service game that has launched in the last 4 to 5 years that is not that has lasted, right? Because what we have, the service games are making a lot of money, but the ones that are making money are GTA Online, Minecraft, Warzone, Fortnite, right? So it's not guaranteed that making 13 service games, and that I'm literally not exaggerating, there were 13 service games in development. It's not outside of the realm of possibility. And someone says Destiny 2 in the chat. Destiny 2 is not on the same scale as a Fortnite or a Warzone
that's back from the dead. He's a Destiny stan, so I knew he was going to say that. Shout out to you, back.
Right? So the point is, right? There's no actual guarantee that any of those are going to work.
No.
And the evidence of this is, drumroll please, factions.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: every time a service game is announced, you know what you get from the audience? Groans.
Oh, instantly.
So you're
Instantly.
making games that people are rolling their eyes at, on top of not being invested in the places where you need to be. So again, what's your growth strategy?
Nice.
So I see almost all of Riot games. None of those games are on console, but sure, keep going.
Well, it doesn't matter though. I guess to be fair, those Riot games do make a lot of money. That is fair, right?
They do make a lot of cash.
Yeah, and I don't know when Roblox started, but that was relatively recent.
Yeah,
as well.
it's rolling in it.
But look, to your point, it is not easy, right? There are, for every like Minecraft, there's like 100 Minecraft clones that went nowhere. For every Roblox, there's 100 Roblox clones that went nowhere, right? It's directly saying I'm going to spend AAA amount of money on a studio to go make a live service game. It's very hard to do. You're better off, like Phil said, let an indie, right, or a AA just kind of go play around, right? Small budget, try some cool things, because you're not bounded by I got to make $1 billion. You're bounded by
you want a Fall Guys, you want an Among Us, you want like a maybe if Party Animals succeeds, you want something on a smaller scale that might boom. Yeah,
try it, and if it works out, great, right? Then you invest. Probably nowhere.
What's that?
Probably nowhere. I don't know. What is the?
I don't know. Actually, I was just. It was doing good. Red Dead ammo with the clippy.
No, but that's ultimately my point. You could make something it could be a splash, and then maybe not.
Yeah.
Right.
Keeping it up to date, no joke either. Right. Growing pains.
Right.
I mean, look, you could take a multiplayer foundation and try to get there. Even Destiny, right? Like Bungie is no joke when it comes to multiplayer. But it took them a bit to get to the point of being able to make that live service work. It's not a simple thing to do, right? And they finally got it years later, and then it kind of got onto a train. That was good. They kept going, but it's not easy to do. And even with that, there are so many have tried that and failed, right?
Right. And here's the thing.
Not that they shouldn't try, but here's the one that really annoys me is that they're trying it with their main studios. Right. It's like, do not go to Sucker Punch and say make a live service game. Do not go to freaking Guerrilla and say, well, look, Guerrilla has made multiplayer games. I don't know how much of that studio talent that was making multiplayer is still there, but they made them before. But right now they make really good single player games. Now you're telling them to go make a live. No, stop. Naughty Dog, go make a live. Well, no, it's not gonna work. Just forget it. It doesn't work. It's not that easy, right? Let them make the games they make.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Bungie told you so. It ain't that easy. And you talking one of the most talented studios on the earth, and they were like, not cutting it, dude. Not good enough. So let's move on to the next subject. Kind of a quick one. I know you guys have probably answered this.
Sorry, just really quick.
Go ahead,
I'm seeing stuff in the chat. I saw Roblox that launched on Xbox in 2015. So again, what
have you done for me lately?
Point me a new service game that has launched. That has done well.
I mean, whatever, your point is valid, but we also probably shouldn't keep going on Sony here when we have our own awesome news to talk about with ABK.
That's true.
And Xbox, and we can go positive instead of the negative crap that Sony has to go through.
We can poop on them all day long. Well, we got Twitter. That's what Twitter.
That's not my goal.
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it was based on the super chat, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. I know you guys have answered this one, but I want to know, what are you personally hoping? I'll go with you, Hargeet. For ABK titles, something to really I see. This is why I asked this question, and I ask it repeatedly because no one's actually said this one yet. So that one.
So if nobody's ever played this series, it is basically if you remember Order 1886, take that, make it into an actual game, because that game was like 5 minutes and then you're done. But that kind of ambiance, right? It's you're a detective and you start you are finding this kind of occultist type stuff going on, right? And you I don't want to give away the story. So it's a very involved, nice, mature story, right? And so they had 3 games, and this is all part of Sierra Online that now Microsoft owns. I would
Right.
love to see them take that, which was point and click adventure. The other two were live action, so they were actually like live video, right? They actually filmed actual actors, and you would move the actors around. They're actual actors that were doing all the
gotcha.
motion. So cool, but I want to see them make that more into a mature 1886 level, right? Like that level game with the story they already have, right? And so they have a full trilogy that they can remaster, remake, right, into that format, and then go make the next one, right? Jane Jensen's still around, who made this series. Go make the 4th installment. Go make the 5th installment. I would love to see this come back, right? I think this could be one of those, the hashtag just one type games,
right?
It very well could be in this genre, right? Because this is it gives you the ability to have. It was like it's vampires, werewolves, that kind of stuff, right? So it's got that kind of capability. So I think it'd be very cool if they went into that path, right, and made something more modern with this. So that's what I'm looking for. But again, I don't want like just a rehash of this. I want it to be like make it the new modern AAA version of it. You already have the story; it's there. Take advantage of that and just make it into a modern game. And give it the full treatment. So that's what I would look for.
I love that you answer. I love. I knew this was on the list, but I had no clue what it was. But now that you're talking about it, I'm very much sold on what this could be. So I had no clue what this IP was even about. I guess I should have looked it up. But there's so many of these IPs. Some of these I've never even heard of, and that was one of them. Do you have any others, or is that kind of like your one that you want to see return?
I mean, it would be anything Sierra. So King's Quest, if they could like, I don't know if you've played any of the King's Quest, right? But King's Quest 1 was a great game. They actually kind of remade it a little bit later, but it's still a very old point and click adventure. That could be like a very cool, if they did it in a very modern way, actual adventure game, right? And if you actually add some combat to it, they did that later on in the series, like by 7 or 8th or something like that. They actually had actual combat, right? You actually were fighting like, zombies and stuff. But so they could do something like that in that vein, but still have the charm of King's Quest. So if they could do something that merges those two, that would be kind of cool, right? So I liked the point and click adventure nature of King's Quest. It was one of the things that brought me to PC gaming. I would love to see that go somewhere. They did make a new iteration that was kind of more, it was an episodic King's Quest that was all kind of just point and click adventure. But they could change that and make it into something more realistic looking, right? So give it a good AAA treatment. So that might be another one. There's so much though it's hard to say, like point to one specific thing. There's Fear.
I know.
There's there's this Prototype that everybody keeps mentioning. Yeah, that's a potential right there. You could certainly go to the licensed games, right? So they have like Transformers. Those games were pretty good. They could bring that back. There's certainly like Ultimate Alliance. I think what was it? Is it like Koei that's doing the one that was with Nintendo? I can't remember who did that. It was either Koei or Namco. One of those guys did that, right? So I don't know if that license went to them or if it's still available to Activision. They could potentially do something there. The Spider-Man, up to now, Microsoft has kind of shied away from it. Would they allow Activision to approach Marvel? Marvel seems to be open to that, right? Because Disney's in trouble. So if Activision's interested in doing that, why not? There's certainly Toys for Bob, that could go create some platformers. They have plenty of platformer IPs now.
Right.
Pick one and go after it. Pick a couple and go after it. Whatever, right? There's potentials there. Lots of DLC that could be added to current things like Crash Team Racing. You could add more of the Microsoft catalog of characters now, right? Things like that. There's plenty of potential there, right? But the most, this is the one that I'm most looking forward to, is if they could do something with this, I would love to see that.
Awesome. I love that answer. That's the first time I've actually heard that. So I'm happy about that one. Everborn, what do you think, buddy? Like, I know the IP list is long and it's a little ridiculous. But what would you like to see come back? If anything, it can be a remaster, remake, or I don't know, just happy enough to get it on Game Pass as a back compatibility game. Or what are your thoughts? Is there anything that like piques your interest from the IP and Blizzard catalog?
Is it only Blizzard we're talking about, or do we get Activision also?
Oh, Activision, ABK, the whole thing. Even the King, if you like mobile.
I want a hard, gritty, Candy Crush Saga where there is like a stoic male father figure
wow,
who has addicted to candy, and he has to walk across the forest and fight that addiction and get hints about where to go next from his companion. No, I'm joking.
I was really kind of digging the dark version of Candy Crush. I was like, keep going.
No,
Could you imagine?
I kind of liked it. Yeah,
Oh, that'd be so hilarious. That'd be awesome
no,
on freaking console.
I would. Okay, this is actually also just as far off the wall, but I want a AAA reimagining of Pitfall.
Yeah,
Something that would be in the vein of a Tomb Raider or a an Uncharted kind of thing.
Yeah,
in the jungle, more of a platformer, but like what I'm saying is more focused on the platforming than the shooting, right?
Okay.
So but AAA hashtag COG just won kind of thing is what I would love to see.
I like that.
But that is, you know, maybe that's harder to do. So I want another Crash platformer, man. When was the last time we got one of those? So what? And here's the thing: can you do something where Crash, Spyro, and Banjo team up? Right? Think about this. What if it's sort of like a Kingdom Hearts, but for sort of for their sort of family friendly IP? Bring Cameo in there, right? Remember that game that launched with 360? You know what I'm saying? Bring them on back.
I like that.
But yeah, AAA Pitfall and
Leisure Suit Larry. Just sorry, everyone. Though the thing here, Leisure Suit Larry does not. The IP was sold off, so they don't have it.
Oh.
Also, I would love if we got a single player RPG in the world of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Right? Like and open world, all that stuff going on. You know Blizzard can do it, right? And with their cinematics and their visuals, third person, great on the animations. I would love something like that to get people into it, and that could probably funnel people into the Warcraft subscription. Who knows? Maybe there's more upside from it. But if you notice right now in the last like recent years, it is the Elden Rings and the Hogwarts and the Tears of the Kingdoms and the Starfields. Those are the kind of games that are doing these huge numbers. You know what I'm saying? So I'd love to see something in the Warcraft world like that. And you guys said StarCraft already, right? The one that they were going to do that was the third person one.
StarCraft Ghost.
Yeah, Ghost. Yeah, that's also a good one. Do you guys think, like, quick answer, because this was one of my questions I actually had, and it had to do with World of Warcraft or Warcraft or whatever. Do you guys think there will be any integration with that into Game Pass, or is that just crazy talk because it's $15 a month right now for that as it is? Do you think they would be nuts enough?
I'll tell you what I would
do something like that?
I'll tell you what I would do.
Go for it.
First of all, the game's only on PC, right?
Right.
PC Game Pass is $10. They're paying more for that. If I'm Microsoft, I'm saying, guess what? If you're paying, and I'll do some federation stuff so you don't got to do a new login or whatever, log in to your Warcraft account, and now you got Game Pass. All of you are now Game Pass subscribers, and you play Warcraft all day, every day if you want. And while you're waiting on the next drop, now you got hundreds of games that you can go try out. No extra cost for the subscription you're already paying. And I don't know how many people pay for Warcraft every month, but it's quite a few, right? You're just adding that to the numbers of Game Pass. Why have another separate subscription? Though if those people aren't subscribed to Game Pass now, maybe they're never going to subscribe. But what they are doing is playing for a little bit, and then between updates, they're canceling their subscriptions and then they're coming back. So maybe you keep them subscribed if you just say they're now Game Pass members.
What if you say it was Game Pass Ultimate and included it?
Yeah, that's the best way right there. $15 a month, included, or
17,
whatever
right?
it is.
17,
Do
yeah.
Warcraft players play on console though? I don't know if that's, you know.
Well, it's
No,
got keyboard
it
and
wouldn't
mouse
be a
accessible.
console thing, right? It would be one of the ultimate perks on PC,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
right?
I heard somebody had come up with an idea that I thought was pretty good. I can't remember who said it. It was one of the shows in the last couple of days. They might have even been on Boom Show. But somebody suggested that make the World of Warcraft on console accessible for not only Xbox, but for Sony. And that, but if but because it's more money for them, but if you play it on the PlayStation, you have to pay the $15 a month subscription.
Right.
Whereas if you have Game Pass on Xbox, it's included.
I love that idea. I love that
I
idea.
don't know they would do it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No,
but with
probably
the,
not, but I
with
do
the
like that idea.
Xbox being you know, even the consoles being compatible with now with and integrated with keyboard and mouse. I mean, there's possibility.
You don't even
sure.
have to though, right? Like not necessarily. I mean, Age 4 was able to pull it off, and everyone was saying that forever. Like, there's no way they're gonna be able to port that over and make it work on a controller, and they did it pretty well, I think, in my opinion. But
exactly.
it's interesting to see what's going to happen. That's one of the things I'm very curious about is like what the hell is going to happen with World of Warcraft and the subscription.
I want to throw this out too.
Go ahead.
My game that I would love to have, and Hargate may be able to, because a lot of people have bounced it around. It was even in the trailer, which is the Sakura. It's like, dude. I mean,
which is Tenchu Part 2, right? So, like, well, Part 3, 4, 3,
something like that.
That was the third Tenchu, but they converted it because what they were trying with Tenchu wasn't working right. So they said, "Hey, we'll just make a whole thing called Sekiro." So that was really the successor, I guess, of Tenchu. But that IP is owned by From. It is published by Activision. And I believe they sold Tenchu to From, so they can publish the first two wherever, right? So they can come into Game Pass if they want. Sekiro can come to Game Pass if it wants, which it will. I'm sure it will. But as far as doing another one, they would just have to partner. And then the question is, would From want to partner with Activision again? And I don't see why not, right? I don't know. It makes sense.
Yeah, From's got a pretty good relationship with Microsoft so far.
Yeah. So. Sounds like a good potential option, and I don't know if it stays exclusive or not. You know, it could. It doesn't have to move. You know, to all platforms, but it doesn't also behoove them to put it on other platforms as well. But yeah, it could be an interesting From Software game that Microsoft puts, and it would automatically always go to Game Pass then, right?
Yeah. Hey, Richie. So what's your choice? And after you give us your ideas, then I'm actually going to play a different video. This is the one.
Sure.
That they actually released from Activision Blizzard.
This is the one Lulu shared, right?
Oh, the Blizzard one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I never finished watching this one. I'm
be good to watch.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. For me, it's prototype. I want a superhero one very badly. I really like that game. I think, with the whole virus thing and having like an anti-superhero, I think it's time. I think Xbox needs a superhero. I know someone mentioned a Hulk game. I would love to see Activision or anybody really do a Hulk game. That'd be great too. But I want a superhero. I want a superhero on our platform.
The MCU did with the Hulk, but that's another.
Exactly. So not a high bar, but so that's what I want. If I'm picking anything, that's what I'm going with. So.
All right. Let's see if I get this to work. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, it's black right now, but yeah, let me see it.
Activision was a family.
We so wanted to just write video games.
The Return to Zork.
Blizzard had that incredible vision and passion and commitment to excellence that was the hallmark of what we had created at Activision.
If you studied the mobile market from its infancy as it exploded, King was there throughout the entire time.
Together, we would have the most successful entertainment company in the world and all the resources to ensure that our audience would get the very best. They were crafted lovingly by people who deeply cared about the games that they were creating.
We had no sense at all of how poised the world was to just embrace gaming. We're engaging the world now. It is a staggering thought, and I think it's just beginning.
The future is for us to shape.
This is about delivering great exclusive games for you that ship on platforms where Game Pass exists.
Sorry, it never gets old. All right, then.
And that one was okay. It's not nearly as good as the Xbox version.
But you got to see a lot of old,
but
a lot of old
you saw the old
franchises
school
and-
stuff.
Oh my God, there's so many.
Their beginnings.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
But
it's
this is the thing, man. Those nostalgia feels.
Mhm.
You can't. I was gonna say you can't buy that, but apparently you can for $70 billion.
yeah, it's expensive. You can buy it, absolutely.
Oh yeah, you can buy it.
Here comes the money. Here comes the money.
Here comes the money.
Oh yeah. Sorry, couldn't resist.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You're good. Yeah, the Atari 2600, exactly 30 below. That's right. He's an oldie but a goodie. He knows what's up. Yeah, that's where I started as well.
Same here, buddy.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of us older guys started. I want to kind of delve into real quick, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but the ABK culture and how it might influence Xbox or the reverse, right? Like we saw a chart. I don't know if Idle Sloth, I don't know if you can bring that up, Dave, if you got it, but it was basically a pie chart of the number of employees of ABK versus the entirety of the rest of Xbox. Now it's obviously all one thing, but I'm curious, like, what you guys think will happen when it comes to the actual culture that's going to happen at ABK and Xbox. Like, which one might influence the other? Do you think ABK might, because there's so many of them, it's such a huge company, that ABK will actually influence Xbox? Or do you think Xbox will influence ABK? Or do you think it might be like a mixed bag? I'll go to you, Hargeet, first on that one.
So you this is good. However, what you're missing is this in comparison to all of Microsoft. So the culture is whatever Satya Nadella sets, right? That is the culture. Right now, the culture is whatever Bobby Kotick sets, right? And that's how they work. And you can see that, right? Everybody kind of works in that same mentality as Bobby Kotick, and you can see it from all the like lawsuits and all that crap that they were getting. It's the Bobby Kotick model. It is. It's the Bobby Kotick model. That's what they do, right? And it always ends up being that way. The head is what whoever your leader is, they set the tone, right? And so if your leader is Bobby Kotick, that's your culture, right? Right now, their leader in this specific area, it's Phil. But realistically, it's Satya, right? So Satya sets the overall Microsoft. This is what's happening, right? These are our goals. This is our vision. This is how we treat each other. This is, et cetera, right? Our HR process is like this. This is what you're going to deal with, right? Blah, 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 right? So the culture really is all of Microsoft. And then it also comes down to what does Phil do? And to some level, what's left in ABK as far as entrenched people at our age that kind of just remember this is the way we are. Right. And that's fair enough. Right. But ultimately, the people that are going to stick around are going to, mold themselves to whatever the nature of the company is. Now, there's also a lot of insulation here. Right. These are not people that are sitting next to each other. Right. These are studios that are literally all over the world. Right. So, so you can't just specifically expect like the 400 people that are sitting in, I don't know, Stockholm, wherever the heck they are, right, are gonna have the same idea of what's happening in San Francisco, right? They're just different cultures. They live in different countries. They have their own things, right? But they'll in some ways share some things, but they'll have their own local cultures, and that happens within any given company. You'll notice that if you I don't know how many of you work in a global company, but even within that company, you go to different areas and you'll find that each area, heck, even within like a campus, you'll have each building kind of has its own thing, right? They'll have their own little idiosyncrasies. It's just the way it is, right? And so the culture thing is all over the place. What will change is what's tolerated, right?
Yeah.
Which was very different under Bobby Kotick. It was all about, are you delivering? I need my money in my bank, and shut up and show up for 60 hours a week. Right. That was the Bobby Kotick. That is not the Microsoft model. Satya Nadella is not that way at all. Right. Right. And it was all return to office. That is not the Satya Nadella model. Right. So the culture is going to be whatever Satya says. Right. So that's going to be the model. So I think it's going to be mostly whatever over the next 5 to 10 years, whatever corporate sets, that's going to permeate. Right.
Yeah.
Now, is that a good or a bad thing? I don't know. I would think from an employee perspective, just as a normal human being, I would think it's the Bobby Kotick model isn't as fun as, say, the Satya model, where it's like work-life balance matters, your life priorities matter, and you should be treated well and all that. I think that kind of is better. But again, it may not work within that realm as far as like how they're able to output games and whatnot. That may be a hindrance. Fair enough. They'll figure that out. But I think as far as who's going to affect who, it's very simple to me. It's leadership, right? Ultimately, like the one employee in one little part of Blizzard is not going to tell Satya what's going to happen. No, Satya's going to tell them what's going to happen. This is how it's going to be, right? And you will follow our guidelines of how things are, right? Our ethics, our process, our whatever, right? So I think that's kind of how it'll go. And yes, it looks big when you look at just the Xbox division, right? The gaming division,
right?
But understand,
you brought a great point of Microsoft.
Microsoft's
you redo
people,
that,
right?
and then it goes the other way. Yeah.
So yeah, and it's like, yes, you're big. However, compare that to Microsoft.
You're a sliver,
right? And you will be part of that. You will get all staffs. You're going to be part of everything, right? It's just the way it is. You are part of Microsoft now, right? So your entire everything HR process will eventually switch over, right? It's going to be all Microsoft, right? So I would think it will go the other way around. That won't happen immediately. It's just not going to happen.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
But over the next several years, that will happen. Right. It'll start molding into the Microsoft way, because you'll just get those Microsoft memos every couple of weeks, every month. Right. Here's our new this, and here's our new that. Here's our new vision, and you'll just start, and you'll align to what the standard Microsoft model is. Right. So I think that's what would generally happen. That's kind of just normal. If you were merging smaller entities, I would say then there's a potential. Right. If it was, say, ABK merging with EA. Okay, cool. That's a possibility where I don't know who wins, right? But in this case, it's very clear. It's a behemoth company with like a worldwide standard of what they do, right? Of excellence and whatnot, right? So it's going to be the Microsoft way. It's going to be what Satya Nadella sets. This is the way it is. Everybody's going to kind of have to work through that. So I think that's the way it's going to go. Yeah. And I don't even think it's fall in line. I think most people are going to like it. I think most of the employees are going to like it.
Right? They've been begging for this, right? They've been Microsoft looks like a savior to these employees, I'd imagine. A lot of them are probably, hopefully most of their jobs will be safe, but the conditions are a whole nother matter, a whole nother thing altogether.
And throw in the mix is this, because of this, they've allowed the CWA and other unions to say, we're going to stay neutral and allow the unionization.
That's a big one. And they reiterated that point recently too.
Yeah, and that is a huge sea change, right? So that's going to drive a different culture, right? Right. So we'll see how that goes, right? And there could be evangelism from these folks to say, hey, the rest of the industry, here's what we've worked out. You should try to get unionization, or you should ask your publishers, your studios for the same thing. Whatever it is, right? But I think that culture part of it is going to be very unique to the Microsoft gaming environment. So we'll see how that goes. But overall, I think it's more in the direction of Microsoft down to ABK versus ABK up to, right? But Bethesda's already done some unionization, I think. I think they've already started some of the, right? Yep. So I think across the Xbox division, right, the Microsoft gaming division, they will start doing this unionization.
Yeah, a lot of the quality assurance teams across
I
gaming
read that real quick. I think that's a pretty good point there.
Sure. This is from Luis Jose. Remember, Phil and leadership team is going to visit the studios 100%. To hear them. Yeah. I mean,
100%.
You're definitely gonna absolutely see that. Let me go to you, Everborn.
Hold on one second, Everborn. I don't mean to interrupt, and we'll get to you right in 1 second. Hargate, there is some message for you in the chat. I can't read it, so I don't want to put it up on screen. I'll let you just make you aware of it and let you decide whether it's something that can be aired. There you go. There we go. So anyway, so yes, go ahead, Retri, and I'll.
Yeah, same question. You Everborn, like, what do you think about the culture? Do you think like one will influence the other? Do you think like what Hargeet is saying, that it's just going to be, you know, Phil Spencer's and companies' way to go?
So culture, I'm not too worried about. I think that's a big part of this deal, and a lot of people are kind of, you know, excited by that. I mean, when I say people, I mean people that work there.
Yeah, right.
It's a new day. But there is a discussion to be had about, just based on that chart, does Xbox and to an extent ZeniMax, do they lose their identity because the focus is going to be on the big high margin money makers? Right. Where the budget's going to go, versus like what you're going to greenlight and what you don't, right? Because at the end of the day, this isn't just Phil at this point, right? Everybody's involved. Amy Hood is involved, right? And so the shareholders are going to want to return on this investment. And is it going to be a thing where the sort of the focus of the games they make are going to be what Activision does really well, which is these, you know, microtransaction hellscape games, right? Now the hope is that they'll come in, they'll get excuse me, they'll get resources from Microsoft, all the workers will be happy. I have no doubt that that will be the case. And then, you know, we're like, oh, maybe they can split COD up into every 2 years. That's not going to happen. It makes too much goddamn money, right? So the other option is they can hire more people to sort of, now you can grow the team. So some of them can focus on COD and others can focus on other games. Hashtag bring back Crash and Spyro and whatever else. So my point is, what I don't want to happen is Obsidian and Ninja Theory and Compulsion and all these guys. I don't want and Double Fine especially. I don't want them to lose their identity in service of, you know, Activision's making all the money in that division. So that's where we're gonna focus things. That's the only thing that I'm keeping an eye on, and I don't know the answer to that. And again, you know, I know this moment is about Activision, but we just saw in favor of Activision, there's no Bethesda branding on that commercial. It doesn't say Xbox plus Bethesda plus Activision Blizzard King. And I know that's a mouthful to say, and I know you want to keep it focused on this moment. I get it, but you know, back of my mind, cynical brain, I don't want this to be where they're making all the money, so their IP and stuff takes over everything. Because we love Xbox for the variety, and yes, they're great at making service games, but they also make stuff like Hi-Fi Rush, and they make stuff, you know, that we all, you know, we love Gears and we love Psychonauts and we love all that other stuff. So I just want that stuff to continue, and this money that Activision brings in to fund the stuff like Clockwork Revolution and South of Midnight. That's what I want to make sure happens. Not that I have any say over it.
Right. But. So yeah, you want Xbox to stay weird. Let them do like take chances and do. I really love that point. I agree. I back that up 1,000%.
Let Activision make the money to give them the cushion so that the other studios can stay weird.
And that's the part I disagree with. But because I don't think Raven should be locked into just making Call of Duty. I don't think
so. Right. No, I don't think that's what he's saying though. But I know what you mean. Like, I don't want those guys to be locked in either. But I think maybe he's, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Everborn, but I think he's just saying like that one could feed the other, which kind of goes into another question I want to ask when it comes to the mobile side of the business. On the King side, do you guys foresee Hargeet, like King itself and all the studios under King being self-contained, or do you think that money that King is making will actually help to Everborn's point, stay weird and be able to do and take more chances and do crazy stuff where we're watching Sony do cut and dry, same thing every time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, where we want Xbox to stay weird. Do you think King will help like the money that King makes will actually like flow over to PC and console gaming, or do you think it'll just stay intact?
So first thing, I don't know that they keep, this is 3 publishers, right? Do they keep them all as one big umbrella thing? It was like that because Activision happened to acquire the other 2. But there's no reason to keep it that way, right? So it could be
largely
that
operate separately, right?
They do, and almost
as far as I know, yeah, very
so
Blizzard is not helping with COD, right?
I don't believe so.
They shouldn't be. I mean, they got 10 studios helping them. I don't think they need Blizzard's help.
I don't believe
but, yeah,
so.
I see what you're saying.
But so I would think that they would split them out, right? And everybody keeps looking for the leader of ABK, and I'm like, no, I think you need the leader of Activision, you need the leader of King, and you need the leader of Blizzard, and they're going to report into Phil. And go ahead.
So no, I was just saying that's the reorg that they talked about when this was first announced.
I think, and that's why we don't have a roundtable, because at least not now. I think this 3 months, 2.5 months with Bobby is going to be the transition of how we're going to restructure this, right? How they're going to restructure this, right? To say Blizzard is its own publishing arm, just like Bethesda or Zenny, right? And this is the person. It's currently Ibarra, right? Is running Blizzard. So,
for Blizzard.
Ibarra will report into Phil again, and he'll be running Blizzard,
right?
And whoever's running King. But then, and I don't know if ABK, the Activision portion, if they just step up somebody who's there or bring somebody else, whatever it is, right? But
that's what I'm wondering too. Like, who's going to take over Bobby? I mean, is it going to be Armin, the CFO?
Well,
is it going? I mean,
Lulu,
probably not Lulu. Is it going to be? Is it going to be Mikey? Like, I don't, or Rob Kostic from the president of Activision. I don't know.
It doesn't like I think like Hargeet's saying, it doesn't need someone to take over Bobby's role because Bobby was overseeing all 3.
All of it, exactly.
Right? So in that sense, Phil is taking over Bobby's role. Right, but there will be someone to run Activision, someone else to run Blizzard, and whoever's running King now will probably continue to run that. And so what you'll see in this Microsoft gaming org that Phil is on the top of, like he's sitting on a ziggurat. Look the word up.
I know what it is.
Making my head hurt, Everborn. Stop using those big words around here.
But the point is, you'll have these 5 different publishing arms, right? And they'll all be working under. They're all already on PC, right? But Xbox will be the console that they focus on, and the Activision stuff. A lot of it will be multiplayer. But you know what I'm saying. So it's going to be 5 publishers under one Microsoft banner.
Right
now,
I like what one bad mother saying. Raising tides lifts all boats philosophy. I agree with that, and I'm hoping that's what they do. But he also makes up a good point, and I completely see this happening. He says also King will help studios like 343, Rare, and Coalition put their games on mobile. It's more mind sharing cash flow for the IP. That's exactly what I think.
Can we say because the reason I'm slightly pushing back, is Activision did not use King to make Diablo Immortal or COD mobile, and even the Warzone mobile that they're making is not made by King. So will King actually be able to help transition some of these legacy IPs to mobile?
Well, that's a good point. I think more importantly, it's just important that it happens, and maybe it's not as important as who's doing it as that it's happening. That these IPs get transitioned into mobile, so they can make bank, just like COD did, just like Diablo did, just like Candy Crush does, but it's a different type of game.
And all that would be separate of what King itself is doing. The purpose of King is to just bring in cash. And it will also generate the vehicle for their mobile store, right? Whenever they finally get to an Xbox or I guess a Microsoft mobile store, that will include some Xbox capability, right? So, and King will kind of just stay on its own, do whatever it needs to do. Blizzard. So I see these all kind of splitting out. So I don't think there's going to be a need for them to sort of cross correlate. They'll just be different publishing arms of Microsoft Gaming.
Just a quick tech aside, I'm interested in what you think about. It's not really a tech question, but you pay attention to this stuff. I think like everyone hates the Windows Store. Like it's a universal thing. People hate it. This mobile store they're making, it worries me when we're saying it's going to be a Microsoft store, because
just don't have them design it.
No, forget about the design. I don't like. I think they have a chance to have this store be successful if they say this is a games store. If they start throwing Office and all those
like productivity,
other things in there,
right, yeah.
I feel like it's gonna get sticky, and people may not.
I think they have to do that. And the reason is because this is a larger game than just, no pun intended, than just gaming.
Yeah.
The mobile play is for Microsoft to be relevant in mobile again, and to do that, it can't just be games. It's got to be everything, and it's got to be third
You want
parties.
to, but you want to be relevant in mobile again. So I'm going to sell you an Office suite here. I just don't know that. Like,
I mean, it's their moneymaker, right? So I know what you're saying, Everborn. It's not sexy, right? It's not a good marketing.
It's not that it's not.
No. It has to have Twitter. It has to have, Facebook. It has to. That's what it needs to have. All those. That's what.
Right. But see, the problem with that, and I am a Windows Phone refugee. So I know
these
this
would be Android apps.
Right. So the problem that I'm seeing here is, if you're going to tell people that you're going to have this other store, my thing is this, right? Most of the money generated on mobile comes from gaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what makes iOS and Android so profitable? It is those stores, right? It's controlling that store and getting 30% of the commerce, whether you did anything or not, right?
Right.
Because
And their
these
subscribers, which
these
is
are
like
billion
4x
people
of what
platforms,
Xbox
right?
is. Right.
Multiple billion people platforms. And so that was the biggest thing that Microsoft missed when they missed the mobile boat. It was the idea that they could have a store, because we all know Windows is wide open, right? Everyone has their own commerce. You go to websites, whatever. And so in having this sort of gaming store, where again, that is the majority of the money made, right? That's where people around the world spend the most money. If it's a gaming focused store, and this store has Candy Crush and probably Fortnite and all these other things, then I feel like it's an easier sell. So even if you add the apps later, I think if you try to make it an all-purpose everything store, we're going to end up with a Windows store again that everyone hates. And I feel like if you focus it on games, that's a way to at least get it popular,
get it going.
So look, there's several reasons for the Windows Store issue, right? First is, if you want to be in the Windows Store originally, it was you had to recompile your application as a UWP.
I remember it.
Right? So that was the first stumbling block. They rescinded that, but it is a construct that's an issue. The other part is, if you're a game, right, and this is on the gamer side, it puts your game in a container, right? Like most mobile devices, everything's in a container. Well, that locks you out from being able to do things to it, right? So if you wanted to mod it yourself, you want to play around with what's in there, it makes it harder to do, right? And Steam does not do that, right? So that's why people like Steam over the Microsoft Windows Store. I don't think ultimately anybody gives a crap. It's just really a store to get your games and play your games. But those were the things. The other problems were it wasn't very well integrated with the actual performance of your PC. That's a problem, right? So when like you play the game and it doesn't take advantage of your NVIDIA capabilities, your AMD capabilities, that's just a no-go, right? You have to be able to do that. So they need to partner with them and make sure that when the game comes up, it takes advantage of everything that your system has, right? And it gives you the full capabilities. Those were teething issues. They got through that, but that is kind of the problem. So it's not the store itself. The store itself is actually convenient, because I can buy something on Xbox and, hey, it's just available to me on PC because it's cross-buy. So I just have it, right? So it's actually convenient. And if I'm getting achievements, I'm getting my Xbox achievements, right?
Yeah,
So
I get it.
So that's all there. But as far as your idea, look, as far as a mobile store, it's going to be a store that can have anything, right? It's going to have anything and everything, and anything Microsoft is probably just going to be there.
I mean, it's no. I mean, like I know what you're saying, Everborn, but it's no different than the Apple Store and the Google Store now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's the same thing. But what to kind of move on, but stay in the same subject a little bit. What do you think the ETA for this is? Like we know the EU just passed the Digital Markets Act like last year or whatever, which will allow the mobile storefront to even exist at all in 2024. But I mean, this could be like many years in the making, right? Do you guys see the FTC putting this forward and other markets making this thing happen and following the EU's lead on this and it happening like maybe in the next 3 years? Or do you think like Microsoft will make it only in the EU because they can next year? Or would that be a weird thing to just have just a storefront just in the EU? Like, I'm just curious what you guys think with a timeline for something like that.
But what were you going to say?
I agree. Yeah.
Well, no, I think that if let's say the UK also, because they're thinking about doing that too, and I don't think you can count on the US to do this at all, right? Like, we know, which is wild because we're still focusing on this Xbox case where you could be focusing on something like that. But hey, it's only tax dollars. But anyway, it's just money.
It's just money. It's just our money. Who cares?
And a waste of time, right?
So but I think we saw the EU come down with a regulation for USB-C in the iPhone, and now everyone has that.
Right.
So I think if you have enough regulators, and really by enough, I mean the EU and the UK, it'll just be a thing where they'll just make it work everywhere. And I don't know, maybe the FTC will work in our favor for once, and not for once. That's not fair. I think they were wrong on this deal,
time.
But there's a purpose. But I do think this is something they should focus on. And I think if you get 2 or 3 major regulators saying they have to do it, they're just going to adopt it around the world. I don't think they're going to be like, listen, Brazil, you didn't do anything, so you just don't get this stuff, right? Like,
he picks the one good guy out of everybody. Brazil was the good guy in this. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. The smartest one was Brazil.
But I think it's a matter of time, right? If we know that Microsoft had to do the famous browser ballot because they make a browser, but they have to offer you other browsers. I think that finally ended a couple of years back. But when they went through their antitrust stuff, it was like, hey, we're gonna break you up, or you're gonna advertise, Netscape. When you and they said Bill Gates famously said that's like asking Coca-Cola to include a can of Pepsi in every
I mean, he's kind of right, but yeah.
So but they did it and they didn't get broken up. So here we go. And so I say that to say it's just funny coming from those days to now. You're allowing platforms that are quadruple the size of Windows say yes, the only way for commerce is through us, and we take 30%. If you don't like it, you can kick rocks. I mean, on Android, there's ways around it. There's ways around it on iOS too, but not something normal people are going to do. So the tyranny of the default.
Ask Epic how that worked out for them.
Right. The tyranny of the default is the Play Store and the App Store, and it's just wild to me that we had to do a browser ballot, but that is allowed to go on.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Yes. So
and again, hopefully these are platforms that are bigger than Windows.
Right.
Yep.
By multiple.
What are you going to say, Hargeet?
So yeah, as far as the mobile thing, I do hope it actually starts sometime soon. But that all comes down to where Microsoft is. Are they ready? And if they are ready,
that's true.
And this would be a Satya level thing, right? It wouldn't just be a Phil thing. If they're ready to go, then they're ready to go. They should be moving forward in that direction, right?
Well, they've had 20 months to work on it. I'm just saying.
Well, that's just this part of it, right? The whole EU thing is, as I'm saying, I don't think it's just gaming. I think it's beyond gaming. They want to have a store that has everything, and then they can have all these deals and say, "Hey, Fortnite, you want to be in our store? We'll give you
exactly.
You can have 80% or 85%. We'll take 15% or 10%.
I love that you brought that up, Hargeet. That's one of the things I've been thinking of is just them giving everybody different percentages on mobile.
Exactly.
You circumvent the 30%. 30%, and then you get to take whatever cut you want to do, which would probably be most likely below 30%. Oh, that would lose.
And then
Apple
you have the
a lot of
cohesiveness.
money.
You have the cohesiveness of saying, you know, hey, there's a sale or whatever, or even cross ownership of content from your console, from your PC to your mobile, right? So it doesn't really matter, or things like that, right? So, you know, whatever it is, right? These are the kind of things that they can work through, I think. So, yeah, but we'll see. We'll see where they go. I hope it's soon. I think, you know, if next year they can be ready, they probably should be one of the ones that should start ASAP. I know Epic is also trying to, you know, get into it as well, but
yeah,
I would think Microsoft has the resources to make it happen.
It's gonna be like the PC, right? You're gonna have a bunch of just like you have launchers for games. You're gonna have all these guys are coming up with their own stores because why
and
not?
Listen,
Like, save that 30%.
Guess what? That's not a bad thing, right?
Exactly.
No, I'm absolutely. Competition is good, right?
Even though most people buy stuff from Steam, it's great that you have GOG and Epic and
right.
I've used it. Sometimes I
and
find
the trash window
game
store.
is cheaper.
Oh, that's great.
I'll just buy it there. I don't care.
In the shitty Windows store.
I've done that too. I don't care. Like seriously, if it has like cross ownership and you can buy it on Xbox cheaper, why the hell not? Like I don't care.
Yeah.
Right.
Same
now I own
here.
it on both.
Like, say trash Windows store. I don't want any Apple guys, Mac users to like your store is dog shit also. So don't you know. Just wanted to put that out
so
there.
funny.
Don't buck up on me.
Right, exactly.
Shout out to Kick David.
Hold the line.
Exactly. They had a great show today, Dan.
Oh yeah.
Advance the line.
Yes, now it's advanced.
Advance the line. Yeah.
Advance that line. Let's circle back around. I know we kind of already talked about this, but this was supposed to be the last subject, but we can't help ourselves talking about this. The question being, this is how we earn it off. Who's the next acquisition for Xbox? This can be
Sega. Good night, folks.
Yeah. See you later. Drop the mic.
Done.
He's out. Peace. He's out. This can be somebody. Yeah, somebody you personally want. There's the in my head, I always have the business side of who I think Microsoft will pick, and then who I want Microsoft to pick, and those are always two different answers. So business. Now, I'm going to ask you guys the same thing. I'll go to you, Everborn. Business side, who you think makes the most amount of sense, and then what's your heart? What does your heart want? Who do you want? It might be the same answer for you, but that's okay.
Luckily for me, it is the same answer. However, no, and I'll explain. But I think again, right now, and I know Hargeet disagrees with this. I think right now is the time to focus on integration and maybe, you know, small things here and there. Anything under 100 million, so they don't have to tell anybody about it. For example, I think that Iron Galaxy is already a first-party studio. I have my reasons for that. You know, we all saw the wink that was seen around the world and then deleted. If you don't know, when the anniversary came out for KI and they were at the fighting game thing, and then it was the announcement that they were going to be helping Iron Galaxy take Killer Instinct into the future. The guy that deals with M&A at Xbox, he put a wink on it. It wasn't even a full emoji. It was just like the semicolon and the close bracket, right? And then he deleted it a few minutes after. But I got the receipt.
PR is like, no. My bad.
And so and again, you know that Iron Galaxy didn't cost more than 100 million. We know they operate out of the US, so there'd be no reason to tell the EU or the CMA. And no reason to notify the FTC. So that is why I think that they're in there. And just like when they did their big 2017, 28, I think it was 2018, where they bought like 5 studios, and it was like they didn't buy those all on the same day. Right? They bought them, but they fell under the threshold, so they didn't have to tell anybody. And I think that's what happened there. Now, there are others. Obviously, we keep saying this. Crystal Dynamics, IDOS, they're already helping you. They're helping the initiative. They are helping the IDOS is helping Playground with Fable. You bring them in. You know, Embracer needs the money, right? Embracer's like Lars is giving
Yeah.
hand jobs in the corner to get like money right. No,
$2 billion hand jobs.
but I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Now you're good.
But-
We keep it spicy here. You good?
But so the thing is, these are the ones that we want. We say because they solve your just one problem, right? If you get IDOS, if you get Crystal, you already have Ninja Theory. We don't want everything to be, addicted to Candy Crush, sad dad simulators, right?
Right.
But if you have those three, maybe throw a Sobo in there because you're already working with them. These are all things that
That's one I was gonna say.
could get. So we now once maybe it's the next election or maybe when her term is up, right? When you have a different person that has different ideas about which cases to go after in the FTC, I'm trying to be as polite as I can.
I know where you're going.
But when you have different leadership in the FTC,
right,
that is when maybe you think about a publisher, and that gives you a little bit of time to integrate, what's going on with Activision, because that is going to be a big thing. And if you don't believe me, look at Redfall. Redfall came out. No, seriously.
No, I know exactly. Yeah,
right?
you're not wrong. Yeah,
that was emblematic of growing pains, right? You're a new thing.
Totally looked over. It's like it's almost like
they
didn't even go over there to check what the hell was going on. So
the lines of communication were not set up. I bet you they're set up now, though, right?
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna have some of that with Activision. There's gonna be some growing pains, so they do need to focus on that. But let me explain to you why the heart and the mind, Sega's the right thing. And I talked about this a little earlier.
Okay.
We talked about integration and that being more difficult. But if you look at Sega, it's almost like they're already integrated, right? They're using the Microsoft tech. They're coordinated on marketing, right? Persona skipped the entire Xbox One generation, and now they can't sell a dime bag in Central Park without letting Phil Spencer know about it, right? Every Persona game gets every Persona game gets announced on an Xbox stage. Tell me I'm lying, right?
It's facts.
So,
yeah,
coordinating on marketing, coordinating on tech, mutual respect there, years-long partnership, right? And again, Sega Sammy is about 3.6 billion right now, right? They've been taking a hit recently. It could be 3.9, but let's say 3.6 because I think that's what it was the last time I checked. But that's Sega Sammy, and half of that company, half of its revenue comes from the sort of casino hospitality business, right?
Right.
So is there a world where Microsoft makes, I don't know, a 49% investment in Sega? And for that, just like ChatGPT with OpenAI, right? They have the controlling interest. Listen, OpenAI is still its own company, but Microsoft has first dibs at all of that tech, right? And they developed that together. So who's to say you can't go to Sega Sammy and say, I'm going to give you 49% of your company. I'm going to give you $2 billion, right? That's 49% plus whatever markup we're saying.
Right.
You guys are going to continue to manage Sega, but we're going to help you fund it, like how we help OpenAI, and we're going to control the publishing.
Yeah.
Boom. And then they get to continue. You're not buying them out. And again, they're already well integrated. Now, just imagine a Sonic game with a Ratchet and Clank budget. Now, something, and I don't know if C Money is still listening, but he said something super interesting yesterday, right? Because Paris and I, we were having serious talk. Paris jokes about being a Sonic hater, but he secretly loves him, right? But Paris was saying, like, if they have all that stuff, well, you're getting the milk. Why do you need to buy them? And what C Money said, and I got to give him props because this is something I should have thought of. He said Sonic was always at his best when he was a first party IP, right? As soon as he went third party, the character got diluted. It's making a big comeback now, right? But there's something that you get as a first party in terms of marketing, mind share, and fan loyalty that you don't get when you are a third party. So if we're looking at the quality of games, if we're looking at the, what do you call it? Sonic was best as a first party character. So if he becomes first party again, then you get the first party treatment. And that would be better for everybody. I know it's bigger than Sonic. You have Atlas, you have what do you call it? But again, we're talking about business wise. Guess what Sega just bought? Rovio.
Yeah.
So imagine Microsoft having
yeah.
King and Rovio.
Exactly.
Again, Sega helps Microsoft out with several of their games, because wasn't it Creative Assembly that made Halo Wars 2? Do I have that correct? Anybody?
I think so.
I can't
remember.
I think
Right?
that's correct.
And,
Sure, we'll go with that. Yeah.
And didn't they help World's Edge with Age 4? Or was that a different Sega studio?
I think it was definitely a Sega studio, but I cannot remember which. But I know it was a Sega studio. That I know. It's also one that just had layoffs not too long ago. That's why everyone was like, "Is H4 going to actually come out?"
Right.
But,
that's Creative Assembly.
Okay.
So the point is, they're already helping you develop your games.
Right.
They're already using your tech for new games. You're already coordinating on marketing. They're already integrated into Game Pass. Okay, no, he says Relic was the one.
It was Relic.
Yep,
that's in my head. It was an R. I could not remember who it was. It was Relic. Okay, thank you.
But the point, but Relic is still a Sega studio.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
I'm 100% sure of that one.
The point is, so you've worked with Creative Assembly. You've worked with Relic. That's helping on your PC side of things, right? They're already heavy into PC development, which Square's not. They release stuff on PC, but they don't do it like day and date, not usually. And so they help you on mobile. They help you on the PC front, and you have an amazing decades-long relationship with this company, right? Because you have to be a cultural fit as well. They give you an iconic character that, if treated properly, is one of the most recognizable characters in all of gaming. And if you don't believe me, go to your local Target and Walmart and look at the merch that you find. Right? And so again, treat that as a first party. And then again, this can be your beachhead for bringing in new Japanese talent. So if you see, because my concern right now is we say they should buy individual Japanese studios. Who's going to go over there and manage that for them? Because I don't think you can send Phil or Sarah over there to manage them, because it's just going to be a cultural difference. So if, again, and I know there's Xbox Japan, I know they're staffing that with local people, but again, if you have Sega to say, hey, Sea of Stars developer, we got a new home for you, right? Remember, Sega used to be the house of ideas, right? Now, if you go and you have all of the if you have Sega and you have that brand recognition in Japan, right? You have the again, they brought in Rovio for you, and then you say to them, listen, go out, find the young and scrappy developers that want to do something new, like what we did in the 90s. Tell that story. I guarantee you people are going to want to be a part of that. And you grow, you have that be your publishing arm in Japan, and you grow that way. And so on all these levels, it works and it's cheap. My issue is, Hargeet, I know you're going to say it. Maybe your heart is with Sega, but Square's the one with financial troubles and they might be on their knees. The problem with that is, I don't believe Square will be easy to integrate. And I believe Square might be working behind your back, and maybe that relationship doesn't really work out. I feel like Sega and Xbox are on the same wavelength. And imagine having a retro section with all the old Genesis games in Game Pass. Think about that.
Yeah.
the Sega Arcade in Game Pass, just that section alone, you're getting the gray beards.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Dreamcast games.
Here's the other thing, and I'll wrap up with this, right? Because this is like my wet dream, right? But think but think about this, right? And somebody in the chat, Z Black Rider says hire Itagaki, right?
Yeah.
Have him make another Shinobi. I don't know if they can get Ninja Gaiden because that's owned by somebody else, but so I see K Sante in the chat. Let me live right now, okay? But the thing is, now imagine this, right? We know development costs are going up crazy, right?
Yeah.
So what if they again, you have your retro section, but look at the recent retro style games that have come out and made a big splash. Streets of Rage 4.
Teenage Mutant TM.
Right.
Yeah,
Shredder's Revenge.
Great.
Right.
Yep.
We're about to see it again with Sonic Superstars. We're going to see it with Mario Wonder. Right. What if you have 2 tracks for bringing these Sega IPs out? And by the way, Sega has already said they want to go and dip in the well for their old IPs. This is not just me making this up. So imagine you say we're going to do 2 sets of remakes. We're going to do 2D modern stuff like Sonic Superstars and Shredder's Revenge. You know what I'm saying? So you can bring back, an old Alter Beast or something like that with today's 2D sprite graphics, right? And then you also do your AAA versions of these, right? And so you can gauge interest in those smaller budget titles that will have a big bang for the buck while you work on the bigger things, right? So imagine a Golden Axe that plays like Elden Ring. Imagine imagine
like that.
Them bringing back Gunstar Heroes like that plays like a Ratchet and Clank, right?
Jet Set Radio action, Crazy
Jet Set
Taxi,
Radio, right? All these things.
Shit, House of the Dead. Let's bring that back.
Keep going, right? So
what's incredible about, not to cut you off, but
because I'll go all night on this one. So.
Right, no, but their IP is deeper than Activision's. That's what I don't think people understand. Like how exciting it is to be able to look at Sega, go down their list of games, and it just keeps scrolling, and they're forever. So their back catalog and their IPs they could resurrect are borderline infinite. It's crazy because they've just been around forever making so many games, right? So go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to
Hargeet, let's see what you got to say, buddy.
You can bring back Bubsy.
All right, so
what do you say, sir?
I think it's Everborn. You wanted to go get the smaller things. I 100% agree. I don't think they should buy something like tomorrow. I think the things they should buy is all the smaller things. And you might be right that Iron Galaxy. Iron Galaxy. That they might have already bought stuff that we just don't know. That could have happened. If they're like small deals, like 50 million, 30 million, 10 million, whatever it is, they could have bought stuff we just don't know. And but that's what they should do. The next thing is do you go to Embracer and say, hey, we would like to get Crystal Dynamics and Eidos. The headache is that they bought this for like 300-ish, something like that, right?
Yeah, it's like 300 something.
It's over the 100 million threshold. But you can work out something to see if there's a way to.
Not necessarily. Lars is in trouble.
Well, but they're going to need some money. And the way I would structure it is to give them a lifeline to say, I'll buy the studios from you for 98 million. And then I'll license the IP that you can retain for the next 15 years at X rate for whatever the next 15 years. And then I'll have an option to buy at the end or something like that. Right. And that way they can keep getting licensing revenue, which will make them whole. Right. But they'll get it over time instead of getting it all in one lump sum. Right. And licensing IP, that. you can do that kind of thing anytime. Right. So they could do something like that. And that could include other IP, right? Not just the ones that came with those, and say, hey, we want to license these 10 other additional things that you guys own.
Lord of the Rings,
right? Yeah, exactly. We'll license all of that, and then at the end of it, we'll negotiate if we want to buy any of them or not. We'll negotiate that with you.
They should get the Remnant 2 devs also if they're going to Embracer.
Again, I want to keep it under that 100 million, right? Just so that they don't have to deal with any headaches of regulatory
Can I
crap,
interrupt
right?
you just one quick thing? And I don't mean to interrupt, but I believe that the threshold that they want to go to is that correct, but it has not been approved by Congress yet. The threshold is still at 5 billion that it triggers.
Right now it's 120 something in the U.S.
Yeah, they want to bring it lower than that is what they want
so
to do.
it's 100 in Europe though, so it's 100 million in Europe. So so we have to look at it globally right now, at least UK, EU, and
well, hold on a minute,
US.
Hargeet. I don't know that you have to look in Europe or the UK if those places don't operate out of there, right? So, for example, if you were to buy Crystal,
unfortunately, that's not true.
No, you do.
Unfortunately, that's not true. So, like, is it Giphy that Meta bought? These are two US companies,
right.
And it was the UK who said you can't buy them.
Are we sure about that?
Yeah, and Meta said
no. I know
Meta had
Giphy,
to
but
sell
where's
it off.
Giphy? Giphy is in the US.
Yes.
And how much did they buy?
I think they're
them
in Silicon Valley. I don't remember, like 300 million or 200 million or something like that.
I mean, that's still above a threshold.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was the headache. And these are two U.S. companies right next to each other. They bought like.
I mean, even with the threshold, though, I think these
no.
would be infinitely easier, right? I don't even if you say the threshold was still 100 million or whatever in the FTC in the U.S. I don't think if you did go 300 million, if you offered Embracer for like Crystal D, like 300 million, just pay them what they paid for the whole thing, because it's obviously they're going to want a good return. I don't think that would be too much of an issue, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think you can get. I think you can get like a Sobos and
but you do have to tell them, right? And now you're going to go through that whole headache. And then they're already
you're right. It's going to be a problem. I just don't think it'll be a 20-month problem. I guess
they're already embroiled in an ABK headache with Lena Khan until she's gone, which is September of next year.
Yeah, next
right.
year,
So we are stuck with that until then, right? So I would say like until then is go buy all the small stuff. Asobo's like 50, 60 million.
Let me
if they're willing to be bought. This all comes down
let me
to
throw
that,
you a
but
lifeline here. What if you in one transaction bought Crystal for 99 million?
Yeah,
and
they
then in
don't
a separate
like
transaction.
That. Yeah, they don't like that.
Yeah, I thought of that too, Everborn, but I'm like, they're gonna just spread it, right?
And Microsoft is under massive scrutiny, so they will check that. So
if we thought of it, they're definitely gonna get nailed.
So, but look, Microsoft is way smarter than me; they'll figure it out, right? But but those are the things I would like to see. Certainly, like things like Certain Affinity and stuff like that. They're already working with them. There might be others, right, that we don't know. They can go work with. Again, that is under the 100 million. Go ahead and just pick them up. And I would say start the negotiation process. Now, whether it's Square or Sega, I mean, again, I agree with you. Sega is the right one for me. The properties there are way more interesting to me. Final Fantasy is okay. I've never really been that much of a fan. It's okay. I like Kingdom Hearts more than that, but even that's like, okay, that's going to be everywhere anyways because it's Kingdom Hearts. So fine, hopefully it'll just come to Xbox anyway. And right, so. What else do they offer me? I don't know. Right? They have the Dragon Quest and all that stuff. Again, these are big properties. I don't want to take that away. And Square is the one that's in financial trouble, which is why they're a bit of an easier target as far as trying to work out a deal. But you have the same potential there, Everborn, is what you're saying is they could just invest 30-40%. Right, and do the same thing with Square.
I love that. I would like to see them. I hope they would do something like that. I just wonder, like, we've heard him say over and over again, we want to own the IP, and I'm sitting here, you don't have to own it. Just like, own a chunk of the company, listen, Tencent does.
I would not be opposed to maybe taking a stake in Square, if only to guarantee that they don't
get skipped.
And
exactly, Everborn.
I would definitely just buy Sega. I know you want to do the investment, and I think King is saying the same thing.
Hargeet, what I'm saying is effectively buying Sega. You're buying the video game arm.
Controlling.
That's why you're spending the 49%, right?
Well, but look, there's a lot of things that were aligning to what you're saying, right? Because Sega and Sammy were more integrated before they separated out, right? So they've done that work ahead of time.
Right.
They bought Rovio to make themselves more attractive to anybody buying because mobile is kind of a big deal, right? So they've really structured themselves to be acquired. And yes, you can get a controlling enough stake to be able to say, I won't allow somebody else to come in and buy. But I would just say, just bloody buy them. They're
Yeah,
not that expensive. I would just do it.
I'm with you. I'm with you too, Hargeet. Like I would say just buy them, but I'm also with Everborn at the same time. I just want it to happen in one form or another. But yeah. Go ahead, Everborn.
You could say like, I'm just saying in order to save the headache that you just talked about, right? Like if we trip the notification thing, like listen, we're gonna make an investment, right? And because you remember, this means you don't want them to buy Sega Sammy. You want them to buy Sega.
Yeah, they don't want Sammy anyways.
Right.
That was one of the stumbling blocks. They already noted that, right? They don't want the Sammy business.
Instead of dealing with taking something off of the market, the stock market, and dealing with
this wouldn't be a stock market. It wouldn't be the stock market, right? Because Sammy would still exist. This would be buying that part of it from Sammy.
Sure, because they don't want to buy the whole thing. But what I'm saying is, if you just say, rather than dealing with all that, Sammy can still stay in place. This was going to be a loosely integrated thing anyway, right? We were just going to give him funding. I think it would be easier to say, we're taking this stake, and for that stake, we are in control of the gaming division.
Yeah, by the way, it's still going to go through approval because it's over the 100 million investment. So it's
sure, but it won't be like this, right? It won't be like what we just had to deal with.
But I don't think it would be anyways. I don't think it would be anyways because think like Bethesda went through, right? It didn't even go to a second phase.
Bungie went through with Sony.
Yeah, without even going to a second phase, and this would be a couple of billion, right? Maybe 2.5, 3 billion. I don't think, and given what they just found out with a 98.2, right? 98%, 2%. How can they say no? Like really, honestly, how can they say no? And there's been a lifelong partnership with Xbox, with Sega. It's just been there the whole time. They became Dreamcast 2. They took on Peter Moore, for Pete's sake, right? Like you really can't have any cleaner partnership that they've had lifelong for Sega.
Hey, Hargeet, it's almost
organic.
So organic. You said it.
It really is.
Yeah. Reading minds. Yeah.
And then they can finish my the game I want to see is Shenmue finished finally.
There you go.
Heck yeah.
Shenmue 3 back in the fold. Get Shenmue 4 on the rails so we can finish that.
Shenmue, the first sad dad simulator.
But anyway, I don't think I care, but I don't think anybody cares. But anyway, so like I would love to see that kind of thing happen. But yeah, it's so small as far as the amount of money that it just makes sense to me. Just buy Sega.
I don't even think Phil would need permission for that. He probably didn't even have to call Satya.
He wouldn't.
Just do it. Yeah,
he wouldn't have to. And understand, he just
like, don't waste my time with this.
He just gained what was it, 10, 15, whatever billion in cash from ABK. So
yeah.
Can I write a check?
Couch money.
No, well, listen. If they do buy Square, right? I propose that they do it like they set up a separate account and they take all the money they make from the PlayStation sales. When that builds up as enough to buy Square, you buy it like that with their money.
Oh my God, that's so dirty. I love it.
Because I'm petty.
You just paid for it.
I love it.
Yep. Oh man.
Listen, Harvey, the only reason I would get any joy out of a Square situation.
Salt.
The salt on the timeline.
Same. I mean,
if you thought like COD was bad, right? COD was bad for the regulators. I don't think the regulators would care too much about Square. But after COD, then you go after Square.
I mean, look, the reason I like it for Square, and I'm looking at Square, not as much Microsoft. Microsoft gets something big from it too. I don't want to say they get nothing, but for Square, it gives them the lifeline of Game Pass, and that is what they really need. They're just in an area where they
model would help Square greatly.
It would,
and also
100%.
You may not. A lot of people don't know this, right? I'm just assuming what people don't know. Maybe everyone knows this.
Gonna say Dragon Quest.
Square actually makes more money off of mobile than Sega does.
Yeah, they have a lot of mobile games.
It's not games that we know about or care about. A lot of those games are like big in Asia, but that's where Microsoft wants to grow. So
Yeah,
and
very
then
true.
look,
It's
it
something
could
to
be
think about.
something outside of that, right? We're thinking Square or Sega.
True.
You know, somebody
could
yesterday in GCP mentioned that it could be Nexon. It could be a Korean
Yeah.
developer. It could be like there's plenty
Yep.
of potentials. They do need something in Asia. They definitely need to pivot to Asia.
Right. Yeah.
And where that is in Asia, I don't know, but you know, that's something they'll have to work through. The question is, would Nexon want to sell? They make a very prominent mobile games. Great. However, they may say, well, we don't care. We're good. Right. We don't.
Also,
we don't need you,
we should also point out that Xbox, I think, has had a better sort of relationship with South Korea than it has had with Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly, yeah.
So maybe that's a way to go. Also, one thing to think about, and I know we all feel like they should go somewhere in the East next, but if they were going to stay in the West, a publisher that you may want to think about, right?
Besides Warner.
No. I'm not going to say Warner. I think WB Discovery would be better to go with Sony. They have a lot of synergies between the movies and the games and whatnot, and making games out of that stuff, out of the IP. So I genuinely do think a pairing between WB and Sony would put Sony and WB combined in a position to take on Disney. But anyway, just with all that IP, and I think it would be good for us too. But Focus Interactive.
Dude, I was tooting the Focus Interactive horn a while ago. No one ever brings them up.
Because think about this, right?
Yeah,
they published A Plague's Tale. They're publishing Warhammer,
publishing a
Space
lot
Marine
of
2,
a lot of decent games. It was Atlas
and
Fallen
so-
too, right? Some other
right.
ones.
And so they're publishing a lot of these things, but they're very cheap, like cheaper than Sega, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Oh yeah.
this is something you'd spend like $1 billion on, $1.5 billion if you look at them,
Mm-hmm.
right? Look at their market.
At their market,
cap
yeah.
right now. So my point is, they know how to find talent, right? And they're producing new AAA IP. They're not owned by Embracer, as far as I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No,
if they are,
do
then I
own a
did
few-
not know that.
They're not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they don't own.
yeah.
I mean, you're right. They don't own a lot of IPs.
Right, but
that
the point
true,
is,
but-
they're great publishers and they're great at finding talent and bringing them in. So
right.
And Banishers, I think they also do, right?
Yes, I think
The new
Banishers
one
was
that's
under
coming
them.
out.
Yeah.
So my point is, you could get them cheap, and they seem to have an eye for really good #COG just once, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I something to think about.
I like that answer. I like that under the radar answer. It's actually on my list of possible acquisitions because it's someone that no one ever talk. You know, they don't talk about Focus Interactive very often.
Now, it's funny is
reasons.
you know, there's a studio that sort of blew up a little bit recently called Larian that was in their
Yeah.
in their top 7 that they were going to go after.
You said nope.
Before they started talking hot, you're at the back of the line now.
Yeah, and so I don't know if they like. I don't like their game, but whatever. I assume I wouldn't like any of their.
Other
games,
people do apparently.
But yeah, so but yeah, it rated very well, right? So it'd be great to be able to
Yeah.
put something like that in Game Pass.
Sure.
But just throwing that out there, I have no idea if that studio now is worth a lot more because of the potential success maybe of BG3. I don't know.
It's still a question mark, right? Yeah.
I don't know how much
It
because I
was
don't think
worth
it did
a
well
lot
on
until
PlayStation.
people got to Act 3 of the game, and then it
Still the PlayStation guys actually
went
started
back
playing
to
it and realized what type of game it was.
No,
Yeah.
I'm joking right now. I'm actually super excited to give that game a try.
I'm definitely down for playing that one. I'm all about
But,
it.
Oh goodness.
But anyway, so that is one that Microsoft certainly had on the short list of things that they wanted to go after. Just throwing that out there. It might be a potential, but may not be. But either way, so
CDPR for Microsoft.
I don't think it's going to be allowed.
It doesn't fill the gap. It doesn't fill a need
It's
for
not the gap.
them.
I love it. I love having CDPR.
Fills for
because it has
Sony.
a better store.
That makes sense.
You have a better store.
I mean, I would like it, but yeah.
But
I like
but
their
there's-
games, but I don't know.
From
if
what
it
I
makes
hear,
sense.
there's something about the Polish government not wanting to relinquish it. I don't think it's going to be an easy sell.
Good point.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's viable. If it's
I
viable,
think the right
sure.
people can get an
The right
envelope
things done.
full of
coin.
things. Yes.
Roland, you want to be secure from this border country called Russia?
No, listen. Let me put it to you this way: if you
accepted the price of a little CDPR,
if you can push through Activision past the FTC and the CMA's objection, I don't think Poland's holding you back from CDPR. I'm sorry.
I'm with you on that one, Everborn.
It's not a government like regulatory thing. I think the government owns part of it.
Yes.
They have the stake. Yeah, they have a stake in it. Yes, they do.
So they have to
I don't know if you know this, Hargeet.
You got to pay the government off.
Governments like money.
They do.
Perhaps, but on the flip side, they also like stability of jobs, and that's what they're actually going to get. You know,
That's a good point.
People to vote for them on.
Touche.
And so I don't know
Microsoft
that it's a
will give them
problem. I
guarantee
don't
not
know.
to fire anybody for 10 years.
I don't know. And it could be a possibility, right? I'm just putting it out there that it's a lot more of a complication. And then they would basically own all Western RPGs.
Right.
Wow.
That's right. Exactly.
I mean, Larian's the only other game in town. Like, really,
all is
that's
right
it.
with the world.
For now.
I'm just
And,
kidding.
okay for now, whatever.
No, I mean
but,
they're on the list. They're in the back of the list, but they're on the list.
but you see what I mean? Like they
Yep.
would own Blizzard, they would own Bethesda, they would own In Exile, they would
Right.
own Obsidian. Like, how much more do you take on? You take
And
CDPR.
that's when regulators make up the Western RPG market.
They will, because you know
Mhm.
Sony's gonna come saying,
Yep.
I love it.
So true.
Well, I mean, Jimbo won't be there, so maybe they'll have some self-respect this time.
Oh goodness! Welcome, Pixel Bit G, to the chat, guys. And we went long today, and I appreciate you guys being here. Well, it's one of those things where how can I say it? I don't want to overstay my welcome. I don't want to you guys. I want you to think like, oh, it goes on his show forever. We greatly appreciate you guys being here. Me and RHETRI really do appreciate
100%.
you guys being here.
It's a
1,000%.
celebratory weekend, man.
Exactly.
21
Absolutely.
It is.
Deal is
It is.
done.
And hopefully, Everborn, you've seen how nice we are here. Maybe you'll come back someday. Just saying.
I'll come back for the Sega acquisition.
All right.
So see
That'll be
you
next year, same
pretty
time.
soon.
Always
Yeah.
conditions
Right.
for your love.
Probably will be the
It's
same time next year.
conditions for your love, Everborn. That's it.
All right,
Okay,
I'll do you one better. I'll do you one better.
September.
When
Okay.
they announce that they actually own Iron Galaxy, I'll come back. So that should be the next
There
couple
you
of
go.
weeks.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
We got a couple super chats. We're gonna knock those
do it.
out real quick, and then we'll go around the horn, and then we'll get everybody out of here. My God, it's been a hell of a show.
Absolutely. Rain718 with a $5 super chat. We need I love you. We need an Omni-Man game, exclusive rated, adults only. Yes, dude. I love that answer.
Can I
Omni-Man,
raise your
hells yes.
Omni-Man? Can I see your Omni-Man and raise you a Blade game? Just because when you think about the
dude.
combat and you think about the fact that there's a movie coming out, like I think you give that the AAA treatment. You know,
give it to like Team Ninja or something. Parse it out. Like I would be okay with that. I love that answer too. Splendiferous with the $2 super chat. So what about the Netflix series for? Wait, is he saying there is one for Warcraft? What about the Netflix series for Warcraft? Is that
there's
that
no
thing?
Netflix series for Warcraft? There was just the bad
the movie
they made. Yeah.
If there is one, I didn't know about it, Splendiferous. I don't know if that's like
that'd be cool if there was.
I would be okay with that. That'd be cool. Yeah. Go watch the House of Usher, by the way.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, no, there is. It's
there you go.
There's something.
Is there a series?
Henry Cavill, Warcraft, Netflix.
Oh
no. Wait a minute. That's Warhammer for Henry Cavill on Netflix.
It's
not.
Yeah, I think I heard Warhammer. I think you might be on. Might be right on that.
All right, we're getting
Warcraft
2 more
series.
80s cartoon villain with the $5 super chat. Imagine a new Shining Force game that plays like Fire Emblem. That's a good one. That's a good call.
Oh my god,
that's a really good call out. Atlas 127 with the $5 super chat says, those on Bandai Namco or Konami acquired by Xbox think in terms of mobile to start, then the IPs that haven't seen the light of day. Yeah, that's a good one too.
Okay,
and
hold on 1 second. All right, everyone, I'm so sorry, but Hargey did drop it in our private chat that there is actually a Warcraft series coming to Netflix.
What the hell?
Yeah.
All right, he was right. So I'll never doubt you again, Splendiferous. I hadn't heard about it. That's awesome. So
the Warcraft Chronicles or something like that. Yeah, debuting.
I did not hear about this. Awesome.
Wow, that is
Love
awesome.
it. Love to
Okay,
see
so
it.
sorry to interrupt you there, everyone. Go ahead.
Oh, what was I saying? What were we talking about? I completely.
I'm sorry. Well, then we'll just move on.
I had a thought. It was something good. I can't remember what it was. Though.
Was it having to do with World of Warcraft? We're talking. Oh, you said so. I think it was Bandai Namco because he said.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that would work.
Okay, the problem.
Yeah.
Let me Atlas 127. Let me disabuse you of this notion. Konami does not have any studios right now to make any games. So
it's very minimal.
Yeah, right. So you'd be buying them and not getting anyone to make games, and they already can't bring back Banjo. So who's going to make these Konami games, right? And then Bandai Namco is huge, and people don't realize that. But they're also into a lot of things that I don't think Microsoft cares about.
Yeah,
all the
Bandai
anime
Namco,
and all the other
partnerships
stuff.
though they could do, and there's supposedly some rumor about partnerships with Sony, or maybe even acquisition potential with Sony. I don't know, but
no, that rumor is actually full of lies. I don't want to. I've hit my curse quota on the show.
With lies.
It's more likely that it's
there
is
no
some
curse
partnership.
quota.
Yeah.
There's definitely not a curse quota here. You're good.
But yeah, the Konami thing, that's the problem. Is
bullshit.
Like they just don't make games.
Rumor, I'm telling you.
Love it. Guys, man, thank you all so much for being here. Chat, absolutely amazing. And this was like for us, the celebratory time that we actually got to talk about it since the announcement on Friday. And to have these two amazing gentlemen on our podcast tonight is definitely definitely amazing. And we are internally grateful and thank you so much for both of y'all being here, because you guys are awesome. Hargeet, I mean, come on, man. You are the man. So there you go.
Boy, thank you.
and Everborn. Oh my gosh. Well, we'll do the outros this way. Everborn, tell everybody where they can find you and tell them all about the Everborn Saga.
Well, listen, Everborn Saga is the answer to that question. You go anywhere, your favorite social media platform, Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, whatever. Just look for Everborn Saga. Most importantly, go to everbornsaga.com. We produce a whole comic book universe. It is a fantasy universe. So if you're into Wheel of Time, Lord of the Rings, that kind of thing, and you're into anime, that's the art style that we use. And you're into the MCU, we have a bunch of different series. All of them take place in the same world, and the characters meet each other, and we're working on some games for these things. The cool thing, check it out. I promise you, our quality is up there with any of the major players. One other thing I wanted to say really quick before we go is no one's talking about this, but does anyone remember the fact that Bobby K said during the whole proceedings that Activision considered buying WB because they wanted to get into, and that's all of WB, not just WB Games.
Right.
They wanted the whole thing because they wanted to push hard into transmedia.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's going to change. Now, I don't know. Something to think about. I wanted to bring it up during the show, but Activision alone wanted to buy all of WB.
Right. The whole damn thing. And everyone called me crazy when I said Microsoft should just buy it all. So there you go.
They should, but
and they're limited integration. Maybe they will. Who knows?
And
they got a lot of money in the
change
bank.
Administrations, it may be more open to the potential to rescue Warner Brothers from its misery.
Well, hold on. The problem is if 45 becomes 47, then we already know that they had a problem with the whole Warner Brothers thing. So I don't know. Maybe it'll be, or maybe that problem was with AT&T. Who knows?
Who knows? Everborn, anything else on the way out? Plus, also all the information are going to be in the description below on both this video and also in the audio versions that will be released later.
I won't be there this Wednesday, but go anyway because my co-host will be there. Wednesday, 7 o'clock, primetime gaming with Boomstick and friends, including Hargeet. And next Saturday is GCP. I can't remember what episode we hit. We just hit record numbers. So like, shout out.
Yeah, congrats on that, man. That was a great episode.
Well deserved.
Yeah. And next week is going to be all about the Quest 3, unless some crazy news happens this week. Crazier news, but all about Sonic, all about Mario, all about Spider-Man next week.
Man, that's right.
VR.
That's coming this week.
We're gonna have a big games focused show.
I guess we were all supposed to answer what we're gonna play, right?
I don't want to. I'm afraid.
Mario for me.
So my order is gonna be Spider-Man, then Mario. Sorry, that's a lie. Sonic, then Mario, then Spider-Man.
That was a Freudian slip. He meant Spider-Man. It's fine.
That's so
I'm
funny.
Spider-Man. I'm Spider-Man. Yeah, I love those games. Like I'm not.
All right, Hargeet, tell everybody where they can find you and what shows you're going to be on, which are endless, which I love because you're awesome.
Which are endless.
Yeah, so I'm hchani on Discord and on Xbox, and check out GameOnDaily.com or YouTube.com/GameOnDaily. We have our normal go live every Saturday. Also check out Gaz's channel. He does drop the sauce videos there, and that's Septic Sauce on YouTube. And then hopefully we get Dealer can get his computer up and running. He moved, so we have to wait for him to set his stuff back up. So hopefully we can this Tuesday have RDX, which is normally every Tuesday at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. And then, as everyone said, 7 p.m. on Wednesday, we have Primetime Gaming. So
there you go.
Check us out there.
Nice.
And RDX, when it is back, it is a not miss program. It is absolutely amazing, and I'm so glad that they added you into that panel because you bring a good level to it. It's awesome. So thank you all, everybody, for being here. We had great numbers tonight.
Great show,
and please, everybody, hit the like button on the way out. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed before. Please, it doesn't cost you anything to click the little button, and I guarantee you, we're going to bring you some more amazing content. RHETRI has got a new show coming. Not yet. We're not talking about it yet, but it is coming soon. And when it happens, we're gonna talk about it on here and give him all the props and make sure everybody tunes in for that. But RHETRI, tell everybody where you find you and all the amazing stuff you do put out.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter, poking fun at the PlayStation guys at Game Pass _daily. And you can find me at Game Pass Daily on YouTube, where I talk about Game Pass because I'm a Game Pass show. And of course, here, you guys can find me here every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank you guys. Great show, great panel, great conversation, and great chat as usual. You guys were super lively tonight. It's like we said earlier, it's a time to celebrate. Don't let these guys get you down. ABK is now first party. It's crazy. 20 months of heartache, but here we are. We made it. It's over. So time to celebrate, man. That's what I say. And go play Modern Warfare 3. It's pretty good. I like it.
There you go. And just to let everybody know that I do have an episode of Outbreak Gamers is going to drop in the morning, and is going to feature Shaun 786 from TTS. And also from WBG, Weebly Green, with his show he does with him and Dirk Griggity. And oh my gosh, it is you talk about salt and oh my, and he is on it. And if you're into that kind of stuff and you're really Xbox centric, you should go there. If you're a fanboy of PlayStation, you should stay far, far away because you won't last long.
I want to avoid that.
Just saying.
No.
Yeah, we had a few in here tonight, and Boss Mod took care of them because he is the
Thank
man.
you, Boss Mod. Appreciate you.
Boss Mod, Lethal Papa. We greatly appreciate you.
I will say about this week, though, my wallet's getting hit hard because I'm buying all 3 of those games, even though I won't be able to play one.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I tell you one thing, I am probably not going to be playing Spider-Man because I'm really not really into expansion packs too much. But anyway.
Ouch.
Oh, was that loud? Oh, sorry. We played one Spider-Man. You've played them all. So anyway, but sorry, don't mean to be salty, but just kidding. Guys, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you. Please hit the like button on the way out. And thank you so much. And don't forget, next week we'll be right back here. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you so much for watching us here at Gamers Council.